Oh, wow. The first one here. But I'm faithful. Hello to all you traders and faithfuls alike. I am Lana, your resident evil diva. I'm here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I love me some tea. Her. And if you have some tea, you know what to do. Hit me up. I am actually drinking Coke today because I need the caffeine. And there we have it. But if I was drinking anything else, I'll probably be drinking out of my cup mug. And guess what? You can get your cup mug at lanachescreation.etsy.com, where we do ship internationally and domestically in the US. So there are no excuses. And I'm looking at all of you Traders US folks. I'm looking at you. Get you a cup mug or any of our cup merch. Period. Wonder who'll be joining me in the lair. I knew it. I knew it was
you.
I knew you were a traitor. I knew you were a traitor.
And I guess since Lana didn't do it, hello, welcome to the Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real and the tea in reality, and you can always come to us first to quench your thirst.
You could have just did it. You didn't have to say I didn't do it.
Well, you did. I'm Logan
You
Murphy.
could have just did
it. Gay. I'm drinking water because hydration is important. That's all.
Whatever. This trader situation is not working. Who's next? I wonder who's coming up in here.
Oh God!
Oh my God! I might do it.
Hello. Hi. I'm Lewis. I'm a canny laddie from Manny, and I am indeed in my traitor era. I'm very excited to talk about all things Traitors US for the first time. I am very, 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 very happy with how things are going for the most part. We'll talk about it.
Period.
Now, who else is here?
Whoa.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's me. Hi. I'm back. My name's Taylor. I'm drinking bourbon.
Period.
I've also got my cup mug. I'm going to fix my hair from that hood. We want to see who else is joining us.
Who else is here?
Who else is here? Oh my God.
But hello. It is Kisha. It is I, your favorite trader extraordinaire. I'm so ready to talk and discuss, and especially discuss how I'm ready to get rid of a couple of my fellow traders. Yes.
Oh.
Let's go.
Wow. Oh, wow. Kisha being a traitor would
first,
make
right?
sense.
Yeah? Okay.
Wow. Okay. Well, I have a shield, so don't try it.
But you're a traitor. You can't get murdered.
Okay, true.
Right. Shield is not helpful.
Well, we'll make sure we banish you soon. But it's fine. It's fine. But yes, we are here talking about Traitors US. I'm excited. This was the first 3 episodes dropped. And when I tell you my timeline, I don't know about everybody else's timeline, but I'm sure because I think we all follow each other. But the timeline was going crazy. The timeline was traitors. And I was like, baby, I am not getting on this timeline until I watch all 3 episodes. Because if I get spoiled, I will scream. And I'm so thankful because I was like, Friday's a full day of TV to watch. And I was thankful that we didn't have a podcast to do because I was like, I can watch everything in real time. So I can watch it and not get spoiled. And baby, this was so worth it. I'm so excited about this season. But before we jump into it, because I don't want to get accused of not doing something else, but before we jump into it, let us subscribe to this channel if you are a fan of us, which you are because you're here and we appreciate you. So subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you think about all of the content that we put out there because we put out a lot of content. We thought almost everything reality TV on this channel. And so hit the subscribe button, follows, the shares, leave comments. We appreciate that. And if you're a fan of drag or all things drag, follow us on our main channel at The Cup Pod, where we talk about almost all things drag. And we put out content almost every single day. So check us out over there. And if you are a fan of Eurovision, guess what? We got another channel for you too, The Cup ESC. You can go over there, follow us over there because we put out almost all things Eurovision And it's ramping up. Eurovision season is ramping up. Stuff is coming out daily, and they are putting out that content all the time. I said what I said because I see what I see. The content is coming out daily, so they are constantly updating and uploading videos. So go over there and support that channel as well. We appreciate you. And if you want to support us monetarily, go to our main channel, hit the super thanks, and just know all the money that you send us go right back into this podcast so we can continue to grow and get better and give you better content, period. So there we go. Now that we got all that nonsense out of the way, let's talk about the Traitors US, because this cast, we just had our cast assessment not too long ago. That's out. Check that out. It'll be right up there. Boom. But this cast, y'all, because half of y'all weren't here to talk about the cast assessment, so I want to give y'all a moment, give you your moment to talk about this cast and what we think about who's all joining us on the Traitors US. So, Taylor, I'll start with you. What do you think about this cast?
I mean, so I'm really just a Survivor Big Brother challenge girly. So I don't know a ton of these people, but the people I do know are pretty much across the board legends. Obviously, I am most sat. Well, not obviously. I'm most sat for Parv. She is my Black Widow queen. I don't think there is a better Survivor player than her. So I'm so excited to see her again. I'm trying to think. Dan, Dan annoys me. Like, I'm excited to root against him. I get that he's a legend, but like, I'm just not here for it. So like, yay, Dan, a legend to watch topple. And then the challenge, I don't know. I feel like this is like a heavy hitter group, right? Like, you see Bananas, you see T. It's like, oh, okay, you've got like some real like faces of the show. Trishelle, I'm just like, okay, was Veronica busy? Did Cara Maria have other things going on? Like, why? Yeah, like, honestly, like, especially given like Trishelle's history, like, why do we get Trishelle and not like an Anissa? Like, there are so many better women from the show we could be getting, but we got her. So
I would take most women from the challenge over Trishelle, if I'm being honest. I would take, and I'm going to say this on the internet, and I never thought I would say this, I would take Tori Deal over Trishelle.
No.
I'm not going to say all that.
I
mean, because see, here's the thing. Because I felt like we were giving Trishelle a lot of praise during the cast assessment, and now
I sure was. I will go ahead and say right here,
we kind of like we changing our tune, and I understand because yes, in this episode was Trishelle coming off as one of my favorite people in this show. No, but I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh no, I would rather have Tori Deal before. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Valid.
There is no way I'm gonna say that, because before this episode, Trishelle was all right with me. It's just now that we see the episode, that ain't gonna change my opinion about Tori Deal. Let's not go that.
Let's speak on it.
Now, it's other women, sure, I would have rather seen over Trishelle, but it ain't ever gonna be Tori. But Kisha, what you think about?
Yes. Okay. So overall, I mean, I give this cast an A. Absolutely, like, fabulous casting from so many different shows, so many great choices in terms of the mix, the blend, the who they brought, the whys. I mean, the Parvati, Sandra of it all, we know about the feud that just happened. So they have them both on the same show, which is piece de resistance. But the people that I definitely want to see go, who they should never have cast in the first place, was Parvati and Dan to start with. But the Parvati cast with Sandra, I get, so I'm not upset because that is T. But Dan is my number one. Like, why we cast him, I don't ever want to see that man on my TV again. He did not cast me when I wanted to be on Big Brother. So yes, I'm being bitter Betty, and I'm super petty, and I don't care. I will be petty. Dan, you don't get to be on TV. You got on my nerves when you were on TV and you think you won. I was so happy Ian beat you, and you don't need to be on the Traitors. So yes, Dan is my number one, need to go. And I'm okay if they banish him. I'm okay if they kick him out. I don't know what they got to do, but Dan don't need to win. But I'm Team Traitor otherwise. Sorry, that's just a soft opinion, not a strong opinion at all. But everybody else on the cast, beautiful, wonderful, great. Johnny, seen him enough, so whatever, but don't hate Johnny. He looks good all dressed up and stuff. So him and CT, that dynamic is fun. Love seeing CT. Seeing CT in this environment with all these different people. I'm here for it. Deontay Wilder. Little known fact, I know like Lewis knows this. I've met Deontay. It was under sad circumstances. It was at my grandma's funeral, but he was trained by my cousin. And he came because my cousin and him are close. My cousin is his trainer. And so I do have a soft heart for Deontay, and everybody seeing Deontay can be very emotional. So love seeing that. And finally, I must put this out that Bergie is my love Bergie. Anybody who does anything against Bergie gets on my bad side quick. So we all must respect and love Bergie because Bergie does no wrong. Yes.
I saw that on your tweets. I was like, when Kisha said she was joining us on this podcast, I was like, oh, we're gonna get some Bergie love up in here. And
yes.
I'm here for, not that we had Bergie hate on this podcast, because absolutely there was no you would have loved Cassidy because we gave Bergie some props. And it's kind of like we don't really know him, but he seems like a very average looking, nice looking white man who happened to be on our screen.
No, Bergie is love. Bergie is great. Bergie is a sweetheart. Like Bergie is wonderful. Like you don't understand. Bergie needs all the love.
I love Bergie. I was worried he'd be so out of his element in a game like this.
Not really.
I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm very pleasantly surprised.
I was going to say, to those last 2 points you made, Kisha, the two people that I am the most pleasantly surprised with after these 3 episodes are Deontay and Bergie.
Absolutely.
Pleasantly surprised. Because I had no expectations for either one of them going into it. I was like, they're here. Great. I'm interested.
Yeah.
And after these 3 episodes, I'm like, oh, can both of them make it to the end? I really like them both.
Yes.
And one quick hot take that Taylor, you said during your cast thing, you said that Parvati is the greatest Survivor player of all times. And I was like, when Sari Fields is in the building, how dare you?
Sandra is literally in the building.
I mean, Sandra's cute. But Sari Fields,
when Marianne O'Ketch is sitting right there, no. I love Marianne. I love Marianne.
I'm gonna say Sari fair, but like the rest of these names.
Yeah, I was gonna say absolutely no.
Marianne is great.
I mean, one of those people named did beat Parvati, so I don't think there's no argument. It's called evidence. I do think it's true.
The wrong person wins all the time.
Look at both seasons Tony Glatros was on.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop. But yeah, I was like, Harvard, best Survivor player of all time. Sari Fields says hello.
For once on a podcast at the Cup, we all have different opinions. Thank God.
Love it. We love it.
love to see it. But anyway, so we get into this. They all are rolling up in these cars, and it's like, okay, they look nice, and asking people who you wanted to not see. Parvati was like, I would rather not see Sandra. Flash over to the car where Sandra's sitting. I'm like, we see you editing. We see you editing. And so they're like, okay, I don't know. I would rather not see this person. Well, I don't know who I would want to see. I'm just excited to see everybody. Those are the conversations.
Can I just say, that handshake was so fucking awkward. That handshake was so fucking awkward. The one between Parvati and Sandra.
That whole situation and conversation was awkward. It was so cringy.
With Peppermint as mediator.
And
all
mediator,
our most popular player.
Peppermint was like,
forced.
Peppermint was like, I don't know what to do here, but okay.
It was just the most.
I am going to extend my hand to you.
And I accepted. Come on.
And then that's all we see of Parvati and Sandra throughout all 3 of these episodes. It's like there is no other interactions really between the two of them directly. And I'm like, okay.
It was so weird, but I love, this is what I did love about this. I love the theatrics of this whole entrance. I love the whole, we had the drum line coming out and fire. We get my boy. I knew my boy was gonna be back. The bearded man, he's back. He's opening the gates, and they're coming in, and they're boom, boom, boom. We got flag cords handed over, the flags hanging out, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, this is wonderful!" As we get the drone shot of the cars coming up the countryside, and we get all this beautiful view, and then they turn into the driveway, and then they're just like, "Oh no, look at this. This is amazing." And all the drums are beating. They're like, "Is that drums?" And they're like, "Yes." And it's so, and then they get there and the cars pull up and they get out and they're like, "Oh," and then they start seeing everybody's like, "Oh, you're here. Oh, you're here." I'm like, y'all ain't just see each other at the airport, like, or at the hotel before y'all left. But okay, sure. We supposed to believe y'all didn't see each other and y'all ain't know who was here. Okay, got it. I'm gonna play along with you. You ain't know who was here.
As if the cast didn't get dropped while they were on their way there.
I'm just like, they didn't see it, but we playing along. We playing along. They didn't know who was there, and they were excited to see each other. Johnny goes out and CCT. He's like, "Yeah, my boy, yeah," and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, it's so great!" And people are like, "Oh my God, this is beautiful." It was so dramatic, but I loved it. I loved every second of it.
My favorite part of this interaction is John meeting Peppermint and just going, "Peppermint, well, that's an what was it, like an unmemorable, or that
that's a name you can't forget. That's a name you can't
forget." I was like, "Yes, John." Yes,
my favorite thing was Phaedra and John's interaction. Phaedra was like, "Oh, you're a politician. Oh, naughty." Like,
can I just Phaedra Parks?
Let me just start off this show and just say, if we are talking about the star of these 3 episodes, her name is Phaedra Parks.
Phaedra Parks, yeah.
Yes.
Phaedra is the star of these episodes, and I think Phaedra is going to be the star of Traitors. And you know what? I'm here for it. I'm down for it. I can't wait to see what Phaedra does. But that's all I want to say about Phaedra right now.
Supporting actress already shallow, honestly.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I was going to say, if someone else, if it was Phaedra and then someone else is the star of these 3 episodes, for me, it would have been Parvati.
Yeah.
No.
Parv has, I would say, 2nd or 3rd billing.
I'm about to say she's a good supporting actress.
Yeah, she's supporting, but further down.
But Phaedra, but like, but not like right below.
We just want to disagree with you, Logan. That's all.
It's not right below.
Not right
Phaedra.
below.
Like, she's like 3rd or 4th, because I feel like, honestly, Peppermint got the first episode. It was Phaedra and Peppermint. Like, it was the Peppermint show.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, but we'll talk about all of that.
Oh, we will.
But then they all line up, and Alan comes. Well, they go down and get their drinks, and they're sitting there with their little cups of whatever, and they talking to people. And then Alan comes out in this red suit that I just like. You better work with your flower feather shawl
so
thing.
True. Pyrotechnics everywhere.
Down. I was like, Alan, you look
explosion.
Good.
Alan coming.
Explosion. Yes.
Wait, it would have been funnier if he was like legit like a magic trick. He just but no, he just walked out the door like. It was not like I wanted him to be in the fire, but not in like a bad way.
Not in the fire.
Wait, in a non-dangerous way. In a non-dangerous
Confirmed. Lewis wants to set Alan coming on fire.
Right. Put it out there.
I want Alan coming to set me on fire.
For all the rest.
I mean, he looked good. He came out and he had this little coat on with his flowers thing on the shoulder, and I was like, "You better work, Alan. Come down there in that red suit, looking good." And everybody was like, "Yes," because a couple of people were like, "I want to see what Alan's gonna wear," and I was like, "Oh, he delivered."
Mm-hmm.
And that I was very happy. I love Alan. Alan is my favorite. If I'm being honest, he is my favorite. I know it's a hot take because I do love Canada and UK's host. I love those women. They are great. But I feel like Alan is my favorite. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
I just art pick, I guess. But he comes down and he gives them all the tea that they need to know about what this season is going to be. And they was like, what you think you know, you may not know, because we have some new twists and turns.
Mm-hmm.
He lets them know about the shield. And for those who don't know what the shield is you protect yourself from being murdered from the traitors if you get a hold of one of these shields, which is going to be in every competition. Every competition, there's going to be a chance to get out of three shields, I think. So this is possibly a shield. Go ahead.
I love so much that it only protects you from being murdered, like not banished.
Not
you know,
banished.
like just because I think that like people can still piss someone off and get banished with the shield. I want that to happen.
The gamer in me is like, if I see you running to go get that shield, I'm banishing you first.
Yeah, exactly. It's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. Like, and Johnny Bananas said exactly why it's a double-edged sword. Just because you're going for a shield, it could be like you're a faithful who is completely like scared of being like getting murdered, or you're a traitor that is trying to keep people off the scent.
Exactly. I would just be like, I don't know, if I was a faithful and I saw somebody just run off right away, like we saw in this first episode, get the shield, I'm gonna be looking at them like,
You vote them out just because they annoyed you, not because you thought they were a bad guy.
Absolutely.
Well, and for me, I feel like because that they were all like, "Oh my God, you didn't untie us more," but I'm like, people were being untied, and it didn't seem to take that long to run and get that shield and come back and still help. So for me, I didn't find that as problematic. But we all know I'm a Janelle stan anyway. So
yeah, Janelle, you do what you want.
You do what you want, girl.
I'm not going. I mean, I don't mind Janelle, but I would have wanted her to untie at least one person before she just like Janelle said, "Oh, I'm free." Bye.
Right?
Like,
people were being untied. It wasn't like she was the only person who got untied and everybody else was still sitting there. I would have felt that way. But people were being untied.
The first person untied though.
Like she's running a race against no one. Why would she give herself more racers? Like, go win the race you're running by yourself, girl. Like. Fuck them. They're tied up. They can't race.
I can already tell this is going to be my favorite podcast to ever be a part of.
I love it. It's just crazy. But I get it. I would have, I mean, yeah, go get your food, come back. But this is the thing. She came back and still didn't untie people. She started going looking for the map. I'm like, girl, you ain't even untied.
Why the hell did it take them? Why did it take them half the time to untie Bergie?
She probably had great nails. Like, why is she expected to be doing these knots when she's got a great mani? Like, let Janelle go do what she needs to do.
Right. There was enough people to untie people. You need to just divide and conquer. There were other things to be done, like find that map. So she
like untie Bergie.
Find the map. They still didn't find that map right away. People were halfway in the water getting the pieces together before they found that goddamn map.
Well, they needed to get the pieces. You can't do anything with the map until you get the pieces anyway. You divide and conquer.
Do you know who could have helped get pieces or the map? Bergie.
They really said.
Nobody untied.
They really said Bergie has nothing to contribute. Let's just leave him here.
I forgot about Bergie. I was forgetting about Bergie. Like, I'm only remembering Bergie now because y'all are telling me we love him. So I'm like, okay, I remember you now.
Whatever. Don't play my Bergie like that. But yeah, they really did leave Bergie.
Audio listeners, Paul, like, stay there.
Audio listeners, I'm so sorry.
They need him.
It's just like Bergie was just like, anybody go help me? I can't do it. Can somebody get me off this rope? Everybody was like, you know what? Somebody else will get him. I'm gonna go get the pieces. Somebody else will get them. I'm gonna go find the map.
Who was it?
Just stayed on that thing until
was it Sandra that stayed there?
I think Sandra and Phaedra got him off of that goal finally.
The queen.
And then by that time, they didn't already got all the pieces and was pulling them in. And Bergie was like, I didn't contribute nothing to
both mamas.
Do we want to talk about who got picked as the traitors before we talk about the first mission?
Shit! Yeah, we jumped the gun.
It was just funny. It was just funny. But yeah, let's get to that because this traitors table, the round table. Everybody goes in. They go do their meet and greets. We did that awkward conversation between Sandra and Parvati and with Peppermint in the middle. We get some conversations with everybody just talking. So they go to the table. Time to pick the traitors. And they blindfold, and Alan goes to walking. And he's walking, and I was like, okay, who he go pick, because he has we get the conversations that he's having with them, figuring out if they want to be traitors, if they don't want to be traitors. And we see Berkey say, I am not a good liar. I can't do that. I don't want to do that. I'll give it away. Peter was
That
like,
is so true.
Which is
I love a self-aware king. I really do.
I do too. You know better. You know if you can lie or not lie.
Y'all, I was praying.
It,
I was like, do not make Berkey a traitor. Before Berkey said that, because I know Berkey from Love Island, and I was like, baby, don't make Berkey a traitor. It will go bad.
I would have lived.
It would have been messed up.
I would have enjoyed it.
But then we saw Dan say he wanted to be a traitor. We see Banana say he wanted to be a traitor. Janelle wanted to be a traitor. Tamara wanted to be a traitor.
I just know that Bananas was pissed when he didn't get it.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I think the people who wanted to be traitors were absolutely pissed when they didn't get to be traitors. I mean, we saw that with Janelle. We saw that with Poverty. They were like very upset that Janelle wanted to be a traitor very badly. Sandra wanted to be a traitor.
All the big competitors from the competition shows want to be a traitor.
Absolutely.
With the exception of CT, which is like not surprising at all. CT just wants to be Uncle CT, and I love that.
Right.
Me too.
Right.
I felt that when CT said he didn't want to be a traitor, I was like, you know what? Honestly,
that
I don't think I want CT. I don't want him to be a traitor either, because I feel like CT will be a better faithful, because I think CT could pick out traitors, even though he's playing this. I love the way he's playing this game right now, because he's playing it like, oh, I don't know what's going on, but we know.
Meanwhile, he goes for that shield every time he can.
He's and CT be paying attention, baby. We know CT is smart.
He's so smart, and he definitely knows. And he's one of those observant types. He's like, I ain't gonna say a lot, or I'll say just enough to make people think I know what I'm talking about. But then when they be like, well, what do you think? Oh, I really don't know. I don't know, but.
He's doing that strategy very, very well. Whereas Dan, we'll talk about it, is not doing it nearly as well.
Dan's doing it horrible.
But we'll talk.
But yeah, so Alan's walking, and he's going around.
He's getting his steps up.
He's definitely. I wonder how many times they actually walk around that table, because I'm sure it has to be like 6-7 times.
5.
I will walk around it like. I would walk around like 4, 6, 7 times just to,
mess with
it.
It was enough time to give John Burkow an asthma attack.
Asthma attack.
Yeah.
Justice for asthmatic.
I mean, he was asthmatic as a youth.
But his old asthma, not his, because he don't got
his old asthma is fine, but the useful asthma, he was very asthmatic as a youth.
Yeah.
But he goes around and he starts tapping folks. So the first person we see him tap is Dan. And I was like, makes sense. I was like, pretends to be shocked, but I'm not.
Yeah, the edit made that obvious.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought, Taylor. I was like, this is such an obvious choice. I'm like,
that's what I would have said too.
Why Dan?
And like, as a faithful, I'd be like, let's just get rid of Dan. Just,
if I know anything about Dan,
that would be my first vote.
That would be my thing.
Let's go for Dan.
Yeah,
that would have been mine, because if you know anything about, but like we said, do these people really know? If they're not, like, I don't think only people who really know about Dan really is probably Janelle, maybe the Survivor people, maybe. Yeah.
And Janelle is going to think, even if he is a traitor, that could keep her alive. So
that's her alive. So she's not going to go. He's not going to go for me.
Dan's the only other Big Brother person here. There's a shared, without even saying anything, there's a shared, like, we're looking out for each other, obviously.
Exactly.
And they're kind of king and queen of Big Brother in a way.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So like, they're going to look out for each other regardless of, it's like, if one of us is a traitor, let's figure that out at Final 3,
Exactly. And like I said, only people who would know is either them and maybe Survivor. But we really don't think the housewives are watching Big Brother, and we looking at the Love Island people ain't watching Big Brother, and the challenge people may not be watching.
I mean, there's been housewives in CBB, and that might have piqued their interest to be like, okay, let's start watching this Big Brother shit. So
maybe,
but they weren't watching Dan's time. That was
they were watching during Dan's time,
right? Dan was
Big Brother Big Brother needs to be a better reality show to get the housewives' attention, in my opinion.
They need to be more consistent on having housewives on Big Brother, like doing Celebrity Big Brother on a consistent level, and putting housewives on there them to make the housewives say, "Oh, maybe I'll watch it because maybe I'll get on it."
Right.
But up until then, they ain't watching that. Ain't nobody watching that. Just like folks ain't watching Amazing Race because they ain't getting on Amazing Race. They ain't watching The Challenge because they ain't getting on so they're not watching these shows. So, and then do we really think Deontay Wilder got time to be watching Big Brother?
You never know.
And then the Shaza girl and then we as we see, Kevin from Bling Empire has no idea who nobody is. He don't watch nothing. He don't know who nobody was. He's
baby, I'm like, Kevin, how are you even surviving, baby?
I don't even know if that man watched TV.
They really said
he got too much money to worry
they
about.
Really said, "Oh, CT was on the challenge." Kevin goes,
No.
"What challenge?"
What challenge? No, the show is the challenge.
What's that about?
The show called The Challenge. What's that about? I'm like,
and I love that Janelle couldn't explain the challenge. Like, I love that.
I think she was flummoxed. She was like, "What do I do with this man who knows nothing?"
Right, because Janelle does watch the challenge because she talks about it on the timeline.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like, if you don't know, you don't know. I don't know how to break it down.
right. I don't even know how to explain this to you right now, sir. I don't. How do I explain the challenge to you in 10 seconds? I don't.
Also, how does it benefit me to do that?
Right.
Exactly, because you don't know who these people are. You don't know their skill level. So how about we just know?
Yeah, I'll keep that in my pocket.
Exactly. You don't know anything. So I'm just like, and then we don't know how much like these people watch these other shows. So it was, so when Darren got picked, I was like, it seems obvious, but maybe not as obvious to them. To us, yes, that's a very obvious choice. And we would pick Dan off immediately. But to them, they were kind of like, eh. So then he goes around again, and then he touches Phaedra. And I was like, okay, interesting choice, but I like it.
I love this. I don't even know Phaedra, but she has been eating by this point, this episode, that I was just like, oh, absolutely. And what I love so much about it is she's not like the type of traitor we got last season. You know, she's like a completely new traitor archetype we're getting for Traitors US.
Oh, Phaedra is the queen of one-liners. Like, she can just throw them and dish them. So this like, it's going to be fabulous.
When we did the cast assessment, me and Logan were like, yes, Phaedra. We love Phaedra. I don't watch all the Housewives franchises, but I do watch Atlanta. That is the only one I watch is Atlanta. So, of course, I knew Phaedra. And I'm like, Phaedra's going to give it to us. And even when I think Lewis was like, I think he was like, Phaedra and Sheree are going to be traitors because what y'all told us about their thing. And we were like, yeah. And then we said, not both, but if one, it's going to be Phaedra.
It's going to be Phaedra.
If they do pick one between the two, it's going to be Phaedra. And I was like, when they picked Phaedra, I was like, ooh, this was good because of the conversation she was having in the house when she was in the room with CT in the breakfast room and they were looking at the pictures. And she was going through and she was like, oh, this person and this person. Oh, I know about this. I was like, oh.
She knows the cast.
I said, somebody's done their homework.
I'm like, between the two of them, they know virtually everybody.
Yep.
I was like, Phaedra, and we got to remember, Phaedra is an attorney. So she does her research. She knows how to do her research and go back.
She was ready, baby. She came in ready.
She was ready. She did not come. Look, she said, I do not go into a courtroom unprepared. I am not coming into this game unprepared.
And we all know, if you do watch the Real Housewives of Atlanta, we all know Phaedra's good at lying for decades. So, baby, she's ready to be a traitor.
For decades. Yeah. Decades. I'm about to say, if y'all don't know, Phaedra talked about being pregnant. She was never pregnant. That was a whole storyline. She
sometimes you gotta connect, you know.
She lied about that whole pregnancy thing, and we was like, Phaedra, girl.
I mean, she lied about her husband. She lied about a lot of stuff.
She lied about a lot of stuff. She can lie. So I feel like this game was meant for her. And I'm like, girl, I'm here for it. This is where I want you to lie. I don't need you to lie to me in real life about, life and babies and husbands. But you can lie.
Or if you have sex before marriage or not. Girl, we don't care.
Right. Don't nobody care. You can have all the sex you want before marriage or not. It's okay. But in this game here, in this reality of the world of traitors that we're talking about, lie all day. And I will applaud you for it. And she's
been practicing.
She has everything in her life led up to this moment.
Yeah. And that's it. Alan only is picking 2.
And
for a moment, I was wondering. I was like, did he pick like a third one, and they're like faking us out? But no, that's not what happened.
I did I get distracted? Did I phase out? I was like, wait.
Me too. I was like,
how high am I?
Exactly.
Let me rewind this back a little bit.
No, I was telling like, wait, did I nod off? Like, hold on.
Exactly, Kisha. Look, they say exactly. That was my exact. Like, did I just fall asleep? Because that's possible. It's possible. But I was like, oh, he only picked 2. So also they're doing what they did in the UK, which is what we just saw, that they were going to allow the traitors to recruit somebody. But I was like, I would have rather they did what they did in the UK. Give us 3 traitors and then recruit the 4th one. I like 4 traitors. I like 4 traitors.
More traitors. Why not?
Why not? Because I was here for the 4, so I was like, I was hoping they would do the 4, but they did the 2, and they're going to recruit the 3rd one. And I was like, oh, So then we get, go ahead. Did you have something, Taylor?
I was going to say, like, the only thing I liked about this is I was like, well, at least they're like, since I'm a fan of the CBS people, at least the CBS person is in charge of recruiting.
True. So I was like, okay, cool. That's fine. Let's do that. So we get people, they taking off the blindfolds. And this is where the accusations already start beginning, because folks is like, what is happening?
That was my phone.
Janelle really says, fuck old people.
All right. Janelle said, excuse me, old man. Were you breathing weird? You were breathing weird. What is happening with you when you're breathing, old man? And he was like, what? I don't think I was. He was like, oh no, you were seriously breathing weird. Like you were having a whole. He was like, I mean, I'm asthmatic, but she was like, oh, okay. And then Peter was like, he was breathing weird. You were kind of breathing weird.
They are so crazy for that though. Like they're like, oh my god, why are we breathing funny? I'm like, it's an intense moment. Like whether or not he was touched, it's an intense moment to be like, oh my god, who are the traitors? Is it going to be me or not? Like, even if you're not touched, if you are a person who breathes under intense moments, you're going to breathe funny. Like, that is not for me the reason why I'd be like, this person was it.
Absolutely. And especially too, like with how long they've been doing that, you know, it's like y'all been sitting there as this man like amps you up by circling you like 7 times. Like some people gonna get a little flustered.
Yes.
I have a full-on panic attack. Like,
and he's an old man. Like lay off. Like, oh
I physically shake when I get like too nervous. And like you're coming at this old man for like breathing too hard. Oh, Janelle, queen.
Right.
Fuck the old people.
I was like, Janelle, lay off the old man, Janelle.
Lay off John.
I was gonna say you ain't that far away from him, Janelle.
I was like, I'm old. I'm an old woman. I am an old lady in my own right.
So is she.
And she is. And you sit me at the table, even right now, you sit me at the table and in an intense situation and the person's walking around and circling around. I'm just like, is it me? Is he touching me? That's all I'm worrying about. Like, is he gonna touch me? So my breathing might be a little bit erratic. Okay, I'm old, I'm fat. I just breathe weird. That's just
you start thinking about yourself too much and start listening to your own breathing. All of a sudden you will be like
yes.
Right.
Yes.
All you hear is yourself go, you like, is that me? And then she's
okay, but like
man alone.
Also, this old man was like a very important politician. Like, is he really that stressed over this reality show? Why can't he breathe correctly? I don't know. Maybe Janelle had a point.
You know
He's
what?
never done reality.
No.
No, I'm not having that. No. It's a completely different field.
You're not doing that to John because
completely different.
He is used to politics, yes, but that don't mean he intends to I don't know in what political realm he's in, where it's that intense where somebody walking around and maybe choose you to kill people. I don't know.
He's a former speaker.
That's like a big one, right?
He's the Alan Cumming equivalent.
That's all he does is host Parliament.
Yeah, he's hosted. He's not.
He's like the Nancy Pelosi, right?
he don't really do nothing but host parliament, like keeping people in check. So he don't really have he's not doing a whole.
Like so basically, like, this is the turn of events. This person's gonna start speaking. That's all he did. Like, okay, your turn.
So his job wasn't that intense. I don't know. I don't know. Janelle ain't had no point. That man, let that man breathe. Let him breathe how he breathes. But she wasn't the only one getting on people because they breathe in. Because Miss Larsa was like, "Oh, my hearing."
I heard a rustle.
Over here.
I think my hearing's great.
My hearing is spot on. And
I think my hearing's spot on.
To my left, I saw I heard a rustle of when he moved his jacket to touch somebody. To my left, and Parvati was like, "What?"
We didn't mention this, but Larsa needs to shut up and not be on the show.
Larsa needs to leave. I'm over Larsa. I'm done with Larsa. It's Larsa and Trishelle for me. I'm like, bye, please, go, next, period, bye, done.
I cannot believe Peacock put that couple on the show together. There's one thing for Larsa to have her time in the shine by herself, but to put them on together, I'm just horridly disgusted, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is horrible. But whatever, we move. Larsa on the show also needs to go.
Larsa could go. I'd rather Larsa go than Marcus go, if we go be honest.
Oh, absolutely, because Marcus is the victim here. Larsa is the predator. So yes, Larsa needs to go.
Anyway,
well, I have a point on Larsa later that we'll make later. But
okay. But yeah, Larsa's like, she heard the rustle to her left side, and it had to be her. I think it's the person on the left. And Parvati is like, excuse me, you talking about who, me?
If only she knew.
And she was like, at that point in time, Parvati was like, no, absolutely.
You know, Parvati did not want to be main character this quickly, and it's just like, oh fuck, why am I sitting by this crazy woman?
Yes.
like, damn it, my game is tanked because I sat next to this crazy ass woman. Like, that's who believes in conspiracy theories and cartoons.
Wait, did y'all see Sandra's chuckle too when Larsa was doing that? Sandra was over there like chuckling.
It's like, if it was, I mean, I think we all saw Sandra's. We all do Sandra. Sandra's like, look, I'm going to stick to this agreement that I made with her. But the second I think she a traitor, I'm telling all the faithfuls that we getting her out of here. I was like, ooh.
Yes.
Well, all right then. Sandra.
And I know Sandra was like, but if y'all get her up out of here beforehand, I'm not upset. So
I ain't upset about it either. I ain't mad.
Any excuse you give her to get rid. She's like, I did hear the rustle too from the other side of the room.
Right. It was rustles. It was some rustling happening. I heard it.
It was a rustle in season 20, and it was a rustle today.
It's a rustle here. All these rustles and rustlings. Yeah, she might need to go because she was real cool with the rustles before, so she might be cool with the rustles again. So it was so crazy, and I was like, Larsa, girl, relax, calm down.
Yeah.
We just started. We literally just started, and everyone was kind of just like. So Johnny was like, so what you saying? She's a traitor. I was like, you're stupid.
That was giving very Johnny Bananas House of Villains energy. And I was like, yeah!
Exactly. I was like, you're stupid. This is the Johnny Bananas that I love because I fell back in love with Johnny Bananas on House of Villains. I was like, before, on the challenge, not a fan. House of Villains, loved him. And so I was like, what bag are we coming out of this time? Are we going to get the House of Villains Johnny or we going to get the challenge Johnny? We got the House of Villains Johnny in this episode. I was like, work. I mean, even up to the point when he stole a little gold thing before they went to the round table and put it in his pocket. I was like, you're dumb. You're dumb.
He was so sad he didn't get better billing. Like, so sad.
He was sad. But he looked good. I will say this, Johnny actually told Alan what it looked like to what it feel like to be the second best dressed man in the manor.
Such a mess.
And Alan was like, I would say, back up, bitch. And I was like, work, Alan.
I was like, yes, Alan, yes.
I loved it. But they both look good, so I couldn't even be mad at him. I was like, word. He came in prepared. He looked good. So.
And Johnny, shut up. I was like, that's right, Johnny. You know when to stop talking.
Right. Exactly. But it was good. So now we know who our traitors are. Everybody's going milling, and they had to get ready for the first mission.
Yes.
Which we already jumped in a little bit. Go ahead.
Before we even get to the mission, though, Janelle's running around the house being like, hey, I don't think you're the traitor, but if you are, pick me. Which is maybe my favorite thing anyone did, like this episode. Like,
no, so but if you are, recruit me. Okay, thank you.
I mean, she could have just walked into every room where it was a group of people like, the traitors are. But if you are a traitor in here, recruit me. Thank you.
Just think about it.
Out.
I'd be great at it.
And then go and do it again.
I trust you. It's probably not you, but if.
Like,
that was hilarious. That was hilarious. I was like,
Janelle, we love Janelle.
And I was like, this is why they cast Janelle on the show. And it makes sense. That is why you cast Janelle on the show.
She gives good TV, baby.
She gives good TV, period. But then we go to the challenge, the mission, and we already talked about the mission a little bit. We jumped ahead and talked about the mission.
They still haven't untied Bergie at this point.
No, Bergie still isn't untied. He's still on the pole waiting. Everybody's out in the water. Everybody's out in the water. I mean, at this moment, in time, I have to agree with Taylor. I was like, who is this man?
I'll learn about him next episode.
Right. I'm about to say, who is this man still tied up on the pole, not doing anything, because we don't know who he is in this moment. But we see everybody's out. We get Janelle grab the first shield. We go out into the water. We see CT grabs the shield, and then Deontay grabs the shield. And I was like, I ain't mad at him grabbing the shield.
You say for who? For Bergie? Up to this point, I've seen nothing, absolutely nothing from Ekin-Su.
Right.
Nope. I don't know who she is either.
Where's MJ?
Or Sheree. Up until this point, there was Sheree.
I mean, there was a few people that didn't get edited up to that.
Honestly, I think the person we saw the least in these 3 episodes was Sheree, and the only time Sheree was brought up was when Phaedra was saving her ass in episode 3, basically.
No. Sheree came up because Sheree found the map.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. No, Sheree came up at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Sheree was defending Peppermint. No, Sheree definitely came in. But up until like where we start the mission, there was no Ekin-Su, there was no Sheree, there was no MJ. Like who would they and one other person. I forgot who, but that was it.
Max. We don't get much Max.
We don't get much Max.
Max was
the only reason we got that. Yeah, it's walking in the rooms, looking and leaving. Yeah. The only reason we got a little bit of Kevin is because he ain't know who nobody was, and people were trying to explain who he was. But that's the only reason we got a little bit of Kevin. But it was kind of like, who are these people?
I have to say, my favorite part of this mission is there's people, trying to find the puzzle on the shore. There's people swimming. There's people in boats. Phaedra's just staying on shore. She's not doing a damn thing. She's just there like, oh, Lord, just providing one-liners, but not really contributing to this mission really at all.
No. Phaedra says, I'm looking for the map right here.
I'm looking for the map where there aren't any scrolls. There's no possibility that she could find it right here.
Phaedra is
That's what she's going to do.
Phaedra is me because, baby, I'm not running around this on this shore looking for these maps. I'm not swimming out in that water. I'm not getting no rowboats. So I'm going to provide, make sure everybody is off the pole. And then once everybody is off the pole, I'm going to be like your favorite cheerleader. Okay, y'all get it.
Supervisor number 4.
Go.
I don't know if you even met that.
You would have at least been Sheree in this moment, Lana. Just like going and trying to find them.
I would have looked for it, but I wouldn't have.
You would have walked over. You wouldn't have run, but you would have walked over. You would have been.
Oh, okay, Kisha, you know me, and you saw when we did the whole thing in Chicago.
Yes.
For our own little scavenger hunt thing. Yeah, no, I would have said
Lana isn't moving. Lana isn't moving.
No, I'm not moving. I'm not moving because I don't wanna. And it's like I don't feel the need if everybody else is doing it. Like if I don't need to do this if all of y'all running to get these maps and then going out to get those pieces. What do I go do? Drown? No. Be out of breath? No. So how about we not do that? I'll just let y'all handle it. I'll cheer you on. Go, guys, go. Get it. Everybody find it.
Did Phaedra really even cheer them on?
No.
She kind of told him that she said the map's probably over there. The map's probably over there.
Phaedra.
And she was busy going, where is Sheree? What is Sheree doing? Sheree is looking at the map with everybody else.
Sheree.
But they do find the map. They do find the map.
And Sheree, of all people, the one to find the map. I'm like,
Yes, Sheree.
That's what Sheree did, Phaedra. That's
my
what she
fitness
did.
queen.
Sheree found the map.
Oh, God.
The pieces have been found. They finally get the pieces together. Now, here's where it gets interesting, everybody, because they get everybody. They start pulling the pieces together and swimming out and getting everything. Now they're trying to put it together, and
Oh, God.
like 4 people have this map. Like they passing this map around like it's a blunt. They like, here, you look at it, now you look at it. Okay, now you look at it, now you look at it. Now you look at it, now you look at it. They passing it around like it's a blunt for
Dream
sure.
rotation, though?
They were
Actually,
in rotation, period. And it
that's
was
dream
just
blood
kind of
rotation right there. Yeah.
And
They were
nobody can
very
remember what they've seen.
what they've seen, but they all trying to tell the people in the water what it is. So they like, the people in the water like confused. It's confusion city for the people in the water. They have no idea what to do. They like, how do we put it together? They like trying to get it. So they were like, okay, we need one person to talk. We need one person to talk. You know who ends up getting this thing finally put together? You would think it was the people with the map, but
No.
it wasn't. No. It was actually between Johnny and CT, the people who were actually in the water trying to put this thing together. They're the ones that had to go, who has the worst vantage point and put this thing together. It was insane.
I love me some Peppermint dearly. I love Peppermint. What the fuck was she doing in this challenge? Because she's just like, no, that goes there. And I don't remember who it was that was like, no, that's actually not right.
Right, yeah.
But she's still giving out orders. She's still doing her thing. I'm just like, oh no, Peppermint, no, not this.
No, watching this, it was like interesting because my first thought was like, oh, this could be good for Johnny and CT. Like they just
Right.
show people that you can get the task done with or without these people, and maybe they'll keep you around for a little bit longer.
But
No,
no.
Julie.
But no.
Wow.
Nothing of the sort. But yeah, so we go. We are, we're struggling. We only have a few minutes left. Oh my God, how are they going to get this puzzle together? And they get it together. And then with 16 seconds left, Alan is like, everyone, back to shore. There is no damn way that these people swam 50 meters in 16 seconds. No.
Yeah.
Not buying it.
Production gives us a win we did not earn, but I'm not mad at it.
I mean, it was $30,000 for the prize pot. I'm fine with them. Because, I mean, to be fair, they just did the same damn thing on Traitors UK. Because the Traitors UK people wouldn't have solved the damn task either. Same task. Same lock. Literally same thing. Same exact challenge. Same outcome where they are saved with seconds left in the challenge. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, seconds left.
Seconds left in the challenge, quote unquote. But
it's editing, so you don't know what it really was.
Right. No, there's no way of telling, but I'm not buying it.
No, I'm not buying what they are selling in this moment. But they passed the first mission. We're headed back. There's no banishment on this first night, but we know that the Traitors get to recruit and they get to murder, which I think is an interesting twist because, again, I mean, the parallels between US and UK at the moment are very real.
Yeah.
Where on UK in the first episode, when they were at the first turret, they only recruited. But in this moment, we've got then
a murder and a recruitment.
A murder and a recruitment.
But they have one fewer traitor, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah. So it was they started with 3 in UK. And then they recruited a 4th, whereas here we're starting with 2 and we're recruiting a 3rd. Different ways of doing it. I like that it's something different. At the very least, it's something different between the two.
Is it to do with cast size?
I believe they're both 20 one or two.
Okay, so it's nothing to do with class size.
I think
really.
what it could do though potentially, and it just depends on what happens obviously as it rolls out, is if people are familiar with the traitor style, it'll make people, if they get to the end game, possibly vote out more faithfuls, even if they get a traitor, right? If they get a traitor at the banishment stage, and they're down to their final traitor, you don't think that you started with 2 and end with 3 with the add-on. You think start with 3, add 1 more 4.
Yep.
If you're familiar with the traitors. So they're probably going to go through the game thinking 4. So even if they like reveal traitors as they go along and banish some traitors, they're going to have that number in their head. And I think the result then is that they're going to possibly vote off other faithfuls towards the end if they make it that far. I mean,
Which is always
could be
the most
wrong,
fun part.
but I feel like that.
Most fun.
But also, I think it makes it more likely they'll get rid of traitors at the end, right? Versus the inverse, where it's like you might be able to sell at the end that you're a traitor and that everybody got rid of the traitors when there's more.
Yeah.
And that you're still a faithful. But if you start with 2 and only add 1, they're definitely going to keep banishing until they get some traitor out at the end if you haven't gotten all the traitors.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously
There's
they're
no
going to
way
know
you
as
quit.
well. They're going to know as well if there's another recruitment, potentially 2 other recruitment. We can have up to 6. We can have up to 5 or 6 traitors this season.
Right, but you're still counting. And so like if you start with a low number, I'm always thinking like a traitor. It just makes it harder for the traitors at the end game to make other people think that all the traitors out the game are gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed. So there's various conversations as we are headed to bed, but we get our first moment in the Traitors turret. Dan and Phaedra seeing each other for the first time, and they're both like, oh, "You're doing such a good job." And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, they were both doing a really good job up to that point.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is continuing to do a pretty good job. We'll say that." But they're debating who to recruit. And there's a couple of different names that they throw out. And it's mostly people that have done competition reality shows before. That was like the overarching theme. Because they thought about, what was it? Parvati. They thought about Sandra. They thought about Janelle. There was a 4th.
And then, was it Sheree?
It might have been Sheree.
Maybe Sheree.
It was a woman. I know that. Because it was, I was like, oh, we're getting a woman recruited for sure. Oh my God.
Because Dan comes in with the CBS names for the most part, but he begins by going through like the other. He's like, so what do you think about John? And Phaedra's like, well, obviously no. And then it's like, well, what about Bergie? Obviously no. And the names kind of he pushes are like Janelle, Sandra, Harv.
Yeah.
Where Phaedra came in with a different name. I also thought maybe Phaedra might push CT because she and CT had a really good bond, and she says earlier that she's kind of crushing on him.
Who isn't?
But that's
Let's
not
be
what
real.
happened.
But no, that's not what happens at all. And we find out shortly after that the 3rd traitor recruited is Parvati. Interesting choice.
Yep.
Interesting choice.
Especially when Parvati already had suspicion on her at that point. I would not have picked that person. But I think it was what Phaedra said, which is if a person gets revealed and there's no connection to either of us in terms of the type of show we're on, that might help.
But that's not true for Dan and Parv at all.
Right. Well, right. And that's exactly what I thought. And I feel like that's why Phaedra I think Dan thought, oh, I'm getting my way. But Dan doesn't realize Dan is being outsmarted by Phaedra here, because we know that Phaedra came in thinking CT, but Phaedra never put that out there from what they showed us. Phaedra let Dan get his way, but it was in a way that would hurt Dan, not Phaedra.
Right.
Because people know they link up Survivor and Big Brother easily. And the reality concept of competition, reality competition more than anything else, that helped Phaedra way more than it helped Dan. Yep. Especially when Dan is running around the house with Parvati all the time.
Yeah. I also think, I don't want to jump ahead, but I think who they vote to eliminate eventually blows back more on Dan than Phaedra too.
Yep.
So I
agree.
I think Phaedra plays this really smart. I think she kind of fades back and does a little bit less up in the turret for at least this first session.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes sense because if you're going to be making decisions that the whole house is going to like speculate over, why get your fingerprints on them right away? Like, let the other traitor do more work right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed. So they recruit Parv. She doesn't get hello cat. She doesn't get brought in until the next evening, so we'll get there eventually. But then Dane and Phaedra have to decide who to murder first. And they come down to 3 options, being Kevin, Johnny Bananas, and Peppermint. For a variety of reasons that don't all, like, I was like, oh, this seems random. And then they were like, well, we kind of want to do a more random sort of kill for the first one. I was just happy it didn't end up being Peppermint, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I was like, I could lose Kevin. I could lose Johnny. Not
Kevin.
I was happy it wasn't Kevin because I feel like when you're on an outlier show in a way coming into these scenarios, I hate for those people to go first. Even though Kevin doesn't know anything. I want to see more from Kevin. I want to see more from Peppermint. Johnny has had his time in the limelight. I'm okay that it's Johnny.
Yeah. That's kind of where I was at. Like, I've had a lot of Johnny, and I also had Johnny recently in a good way. So I'm like, I'll just keep that memory of Johnny. He can go first here. Like, he's shown in House of Villains. I don't need another season of him.
Yeah.
But I will say, who was the other guy? Kevin.
Yeah.
I will say, I thought Kevin would have been like a decent murder just because he seems like someone nobody is going to suspect.
Yeah.
And for like traitors, like if this person's never going to get banished, why not kill him?
Like,
yes.
If Kevin went there, I wouldn't have been able to associate him with anybody.
But Banana's absolutely going to be considered a traitor at some point or another.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
If not, it possibly could have been considered in that first roundtable.
Oh, easy. Especially with the argument like, this man's won 7 shows. He's well known for lying. Why wouldn't production pick him to do this? You know?
Yeah.
So we see next morning they go big. They go Banana Man. That's got to be so wild for him too, because he literally left filming House of Villains, doing very well on House of Villains, and went straight to film this.
And then was
first boot. He went from finale to first boot, second place to first
literally.
boot.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, 2024.
Thanks, 2024. We appreciate you. And this is where, before we eventually find out that Bananas is the first murdered, we get the first of several moments of Trishelle bringing up everything that happened with Peppermint.
It's so ugly. Like, it's just so ugly.
It's
like
so
the fact
unnecessary.
that this all starts because Trishelle kind of makes this comment about, if I get murdered, then you're the traitor, which is like not a fun comment to hear in a game like this, right? Like, it's totally reasonable to react kind of wonky to it.
Yeah.
And just for Trishelle to like come at Peppermint of all people in the cast and be like, you're not giving me the exact reaction I want for a shitty comment I made, and now I'm gonna like whip up the whole house against you. It was just it was really nasty. It felt very Karen behavior.
In a way, I'm glad what's his name? Marcus decided to open it up rather than letting Trishelle keep on doing little Chinese whispers around the group. Like, if we're going to talk about it, we're going to talk about it in front of everybody. So, yeah. Because if he did not do that, Trishelle was going to keep on yapping and yapping. Like,
I mean, what it bothered me so much about this whole situation is that Trishelle was able to say, I assumed you made a face and I took it as this, and that's what it is, because you made this face that I thought was was this a certain way. Like, if you had somebody come out and say, if I'm dead, you're the traitor,
You're gonna
how
make
would
a
your
face.
face be? Would you be sitting like, no? She go. Pepper was like, what? Why would you say that? That's not a telling sound of that person is now a traitor. That's a person saying, what are you talking about? And then we get to the whole thing, and Peppermint clearly like didn't think very much of that conversation.
And didn't
because
even
it wasn't
remember
a big deal. Right. It didn't ripple with her. It wasn't affect something that she was going to pick up later. Like, she didn't tell anybody else after the fact. Like,
No,
she
she's
wasn't
just
going
trying to
around
let it go, is the vibe I'm getting.
Not even,
Right.
it's not even about letting it go. She didn't remember it. It didn't
wasn't even-
register. It
Like,
wasn't significant.
She was like, what situation?
What situation are we talking about?
It's-
And like
and-
with Marcus Rogers, she was like, what conversation? It was just very
And how is that not like more persuasive? Like, she doesn't even remember it. Like, it's not a big deal.
Coupled with the fact that Trishelle brings up this original point to the group at breakfast when Peppermint's not even there to say anything about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just
because you want to bring up the elephant in the room. Well, the elephant in the room would have been when the other person was in the room. Then it would have been the elephant in the room. But you waited until she was not there to bring this up. And like Lewis said, thankfully, Marcus was like, what we're not going to do is just keep talking these conversations in little small groups. And let's just bring it up in front of everybody and let's talk about it. And then when it was brought up, Peppermint was like, what conversation? What are you talking about? What situation? And she was like, when we were talking about the, being the traitor, and Pepper was like, what? Like, in that moment, I would have been looking at Trishelle like, so what are you doing?
You're trying to create a situation. And like she said, if you're a traitor, you're trying to divert attention. If you're not a traitor, then you're not helpful to us as faithfuls by creating a situation to point out people who aren't traitors.
But
and
she
at the
was
end
so
of the
convinced.
day, and at the beginning of the day, Trishelle's not dead. Trishelle is there.
Right.
So like that whole purpose and whole conversation that you were bringing up made no sense to even bring it up at breakfast because you're still here. So that therefore she wasn't the traitor in your eyes because you're still here and you're not dead. So
I did love that Peppermint was like, if you get murdered, it'll be by my look, but it's not because I'm a traitor. I'm like,
the fact that Trishelle actually thought Peppermint was gonna be intimidated by her wardrobe.
Please.
She's a drag queen, honey.
Please.
Ain't no drag queen intimidated by your little cis woman, white woman outfit. Get out of here. No drag queen anywhere.
Trishelle's kind of giving Rachel Riley try too hard energy this season, fashion-wise, and like, no, girl, you're not making anybody sweat.
You're not shaking the room with your fashion sense. Your little plaid skirts and jacket is not shaking the room. Because guess what? You got real housewives there who got real money, and you got
so many people. You got Shaw's of Sunset MJ.
Shaw's a Sunset girl. You got.
Well, let's talk about it though. Like, what got me was that only Max was the only one who had enough sense to be like, okay, this sounds ridiculous. And Sheree was like, I was there and this was nothing. Those the only two who was like, Trishelle, you're smoking crack. Like, girl, calm down. Everybody else was like, well, I don't know. I guess it might be. I don't know. Like,
the frustrating thing to your point there, Kisha, is that neither of them bring anything up until the round table. If they had brought it up at breakfast, if either of them had, it didn't need to be both of them. But if Sheree had been like, no, I was in the room, like, I didn't think it was that much of anything.
Well, I think Sheree said it before the round table, but I think at breakfast, Sheree probably thought it was going to die. Like, Sheree's like, oh, girl said it. Girl said her response. Like, she probably thought it was going to die. But then when Sheree heard it being talked about again, Sheree was like, okay, I was there, and I don't think it was that big of a deal, So Sheree mentioned it before the round table.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
When it was brought up again in the room where she was.
I'm about to say, I think with the, like, most of us, I don't know, Taylor, you haven't played a mini game, but we played mini games where we had to go in different rooms and we hear a situation happen and then we leave the room and come back. I think this is something like that where Sheree was like, I hear the situation come up the first time. I'm not going to say nothing because I think they're going to let it die and resolve it in this room. So I'm going to move on and go to the next room. But then she heard it again in the next room and she's like, no, wait a minute, y'all. I was in the room when it happened. It really wasn't that big of a deal. But by that time, it has gotten so blown up out of proportion. Her little mention and Max's mention at the round table was like nothing because everybody pretty much had their minds made up of what they wanted to do or what they were feeling in that moment. And I was just,
or what the herd mentality told them to do.
Exactly.
Well,
because
and at
it was
that point,
anybody but me moment situation.
Yeah, Peppermint's comments had gotten conflated because she like got tongue tied in the kitchen. Which again, I don't think Pepper said that she was a traitor. She was just trying to do a double negative, and everybody knows when you're doing double negatives, it messes you up.
Yeah. Yeah, because later at the round table, we'll talk about it more later. But when Larsa's like, "You admitted to being a traitor," I'm like, "No, that's literally not what happened. I just watched
Not at
it.
all.
That's not what happened." But okay, Larsa, whatever. Like,
she just really said, "You try to get rid of a traitor. I mean, try to get rid of a faithful." It was kind of a like, okay, the game is called Traitors. We say traitors all day long. That's all we talk about is traitors in this game. Sure, she could slip up and say traitors when she meant faithful, but
also it was done in a double negative way, and that's why it was a mess up. Because when you're trying to speak in double negative, you forget which word you're supposed to be using in the process. So it wasn't even like a straight trying to get rid of traitor. It was if you're not traitor hunting, if you're not faithful hunting, and it was like, wait, which one am I saying? Because you're like trying to figure out the phrasing on what you're trying to say, which was clear to me the problem.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Peppermint, she's not the most well versed in situations like this. So it's one of those situations where like if she had had a bit more of a social strategic mind, and I love Peppermint dearly, but if she had had a bit more of a social strategic mind, I think she could have gotten herself out of that situation a little bit better. But unfortunately, it all kind of just
absolutely.
But, and even then, when she's in her blue flannel later at the mission, I'm like, she still looks better than Trishelle.
Oh my God. Okay. On this point, I literally just got a tweet from Gamer Vev that says, "Challenge fans, we have to defend Trishelle and Messy Reality TV at all costs." And everybody responded like, "No, I'm not defending Trishelle. I'm sorry. Peppermint was right. No." Like literally, like, no.
No, we're not defending that. For what? When you wrong, I don't defend wrong. I'm gonna be on the right side of history, and that was wrong. Period.
Yes,
she was wrong. So we moved to the mission. Are we at the mission? I think we're at the mission.
Yeah.
This was fun.
The same one we just saw.
We just saw this mission in UK, which is great. But I loved it when I saw it. I was like, "Oh, it's the creepy scarecrow mission." All right.
I was like,
great.
"Oh God, another field of creepy scarecrows. God help me."
But I will say the UK people did this one way better than this cast. And this was they did all right though, but they did all right. So we break them off into 3 groups, and yellow, red, and blue team, and they have to go find these they go down their paths to different scarecrows where the question will be asked. You pick the right answer, you grab that scarecrow, take it to the box, unlock the box if you have the right key. If you got the wrong key, you gotta go back, get the other scarecrow, and come back. 3 different questions. And then once you get all 3 questions, you run to the field of gold, where it's a bunch of creepy scarecrows, and you have to rip out their hearts to find gold or 3 safety shields. That's it. Just get to the field.
The best part of this for me is we get John in a confessional, and I'm really liking John as a character. I will say that. But he goes, "Pace matters. We can't dilly-dally." Falls in the mud.
I'm sorry.
Falls on his ass.
This entire challenge, I'm dying watching John run. John
running needs to be a gif if no one's made it, because he's running with his arms just at his sides, and I'm like, honey, no one runs like that, darling.
He does.
He shouldn't.
He does.
It's the run of someone who's never ran.
But I tell you, he was moving. John was moving with his old self, and he was running. And I was like, John, do it better than I would have done, because baby, I'm not running that fast. But John was like, run.
No inhaler, no nothing.
No inhaler. But tomorrow.
No inhaler. God forbid.
Tomorrow was like, something ain't right with this man. He is lying. He's a politician. And all politicians lie. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find out if he's lying or not. And hey, John, I sure could use an inhaler. Do you have one? No.
No, sorry. Like, no, sorry.
No, sorry. I knew.
Why would he have it and not a PA? That's really the question here. Like, he just fell in the mud. Don't you think if he had fallen, maybe he would have broken his inhaler? Like, if he had one in his pocket. But also, why would he have it when there... But I will say, where Larsa is trying to randomly accuse people and it's not coming off funny, I lived for this moment from Tamra, where she was just like, I'm going to try to catch a man in a lie.
Tamra is so funny. Oh my God. I love it.
I'm not that well versed with Tamra from, I don't watch Orange County nearly as much as
Tamra's not on Orange County anymore, so it's like old school Orange County, but which is what I watched, and she's was great.
And I'm like, I'm really enjoying Tamra. She's the other person that I'm like, but at this moment I was like, oh yeah, Tamra, you're on the show. Hey Tam. Right. Like, welcome to the show, Tamra.
I said, man, I feel bad for all politicians who might be trying to get out of politics and go do reality TV, because baby, nobody trusts you. You're a politician and you are not to be trusted at all costs. Like, there's nothing you can say or do to make me believe that you are trustworthy, because you, sir or ma'am, was a politician. And we all know they lie. They all lie. All of them.
They all lie.
And I was just like, I want to say no, but can you really say no? But then I'm like, but don't all y'all lie? Lawyers, don't y'all lie?
No,
he openly said
no.
All lawyers
I'm about to say, see, like, speaking from two attorneys here, of course they would say
he openly said it.
But I'm like,
I can't remember where, but he admitted that he does lie in his profession.
Everybody lies. Mm-hmm. There's not a person on that cast who
when he was talking about being a traitor or not.
Okay.
Talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say, I don't know who doesn't lie. Everybody in that cast lies. Like, all of them are liars.
Bergie does not lie. Bergie is pure.
I think Bergie can lie.
I think Bergie done lied to a girl or two on Love Island before.
No, Bergie did not. Bergie was sweet and innocent.
If anything, they were lying to him. If anything, they were lying to him.
Right. Bergie was they did Bergie wrong. Bergie is an angel. We do not slander Bergie.
So Bergie is the only one that doesn't lie on this show.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
But
that's why Bergie. This is why we said Bergie couldn't be a traitor. Like, literally, Bergie's problem is Bergie is too honest. Bergie cannot be a traitor.
Oh, he said it. Like, I can't lie. Yeah.
No, yeah, Bergie is too open, too honest. It's a rare fine, baby.
Rare fine. Okay. All right. I'm gonna trust your judgment on that. I'm gonna trust what you say. But so John, of course, is a liar to Tamara because he doesn't have his inhaler on him and he's asthmatic. So absolutely. But he's running. Everybody's running. We get to a question where they're like, who's the most popular? And so people are like, it was with Peppermint and
Deontay.
Deontay. Yeah. So they're like, it gotta be Deontay, right?
Oh, it's gotta be Deontay.
Trishelle was it's definitely Deontay, because nobody likes Peppermint.
Because
who would
Trishelle
like
is a hater.
You don't like Peppermint.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody likes Peppermint.
Peppermint's like, I think it's me, but if you want to go Deontay.
But if you want to go Deontay, they're like, yeah, we think it's Deontay. And she was like, okay.
No, they picked up, they started running with Peppermint, and then
they picked it up. And then all
of a sudden, Sandra was like, no, it's Deontay. And then everyone was like,
okay, we trust Sandra. It's Deontay. So we run back. And we throw Peppermint, as Peppermint said, and they throw me on the ground. Left me there and picked up Deontay and ran down there. So we get down there, and Deontay, his key don't open because it's not Deontay. Oh. So now we got to run back and pick me up off the ground.
Trishell's adamant. Trichelle's adamant, the key must be broken.
The key must
key
be
must be
broken. 'Cause They got to be Beyonce.
There's
No,
no
Trishelle,
way
you're
to
just
like
a hateful
Peppermint.
bitch.
That should have showed them right there that Trishelle was being petty. Trishelle had an issue with Peppermint. That whatever Trishelle said about Peppermint was not going to be accurate. They should have processed that in that moment.
Yep.
No.
Anybody who would have with a half a brain cell would have been like, "This girl is
Got it
this
out
girl
for
here is too
Peppermint.
petty. She is out for Peppermint,
Yes.
and there's nothing Peppermint could say or do to get this girl on her side."
Right.
Right.
It was just weird. But the key had to be broken. But no, it wasn't broken because it wasn't Deontay. As much as we like Deontay, it wasn't him. It was Peppermint. So they had to everybody had to go back and pick up Peppermint and bring her back down and open the key. We got who is the most who is the most influential between Larsa and Marcus. And everybody picked Marcus. Which I was like, makes sense because Larsa's crazy. I wouldn't trust her with nothing. She couldn't tell me nothing.
If this was really like first and second place in these voting, how the hell did Larsa get second place in that voting?
Yeah, I was wondering about like how they picked the two names. Like, just because it's not clear that it's first and second, it could be sixth and eighth.
Right. I didn't think it was first and second. Nobody said
I
that.
think
They
it
just
was
said
random.
which people they're comparing.
Probably, but it seemed like when it came specifically to the Deontay and Peppermint one, it was like everyone was like, "Oh, I said Deontay. Oh, I said Deontay." So that's what made me think it was just that like so many people were saying Deontay in that moment. It was probably because they were going to put the
Parv said she put Peppermint, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe for most popular it was 1 and 2, but like for influential, I think they just put the couple against each other because it just makes sense to put the couple against each other.
Yeah.
Okay, but we haven't even talked about like the category that feels like it has the biggest like oh shit moment, which is like who's not talking enough.
Who's not talking
Oh
enough?
yeah.
And Dan is one of them. And like I'm for that, I'm like, did they throw the traitor under the bus? Like, is production like throwing Dan under the bus, or was he really like the highest vote getter here? Because I could see him be the highest vote getter for that category based on how he's playing this game. Like, I don't think Rod needs to interfere.
Right.
Absolutely. I think he was really too quiet in the whole thing. So I can see that making sense of him being one of the top getters of being too quiet. But I would hope that's what it was.
I think it was a way too for production to communicate to him as a traitor.
You need to step up a
so
little
that
bit.
he knew.
Yeah.
But
you need to step your pussy.
Because if everybody notices it,
yeah.
they know already. He's the one who doesn't know. If anything, it's just a way for him to find out.
Mm-hmm. But Dan gets that. He's like, oh, it's me. So then in that moment, Dan's like, I need to go get a shield. Even though he don't really need a shield because he's a traitor. But he was like, I need to make it look like I'm scared.
No, Dan, what you need to do is talk. Like,
what you need to do is have conversations with people.
Yeah. And do a little give and take with people. Like talk, give a little information, take a little information, like actually engage in strategic conversations with more people.
But you know what? He can't. You know why? Because he's a horrible social player. Absolutely. He didn't win because he was good. He won because the season sucked. Yeah, I said it. I said what I said. He should never have won. Go on.
Anybody want cake?
No, I'm good. I'm swallowing. Look, I'm swallowing what she's putting down.
And that's why Ian beat him. Okay, next.
We move. So we get to the field of gold. Finally, everybody answered the 3 questions. We get to the field of gold. And baby, when I tell you half of this cast was looking for safety shields instead of money, that surprised me a lot. I was like, whoa, half of y'all really literally like, screw the money, give me the safety. And only one person found the dang shield.
Which I'm like, I don't think they were digging right, because there's no way with all of them looking that they didn't find the other shield. Baby, they were horrible at digging through them scarecrows.
They were horrible. But they did end up with $16,000 to put into their gold, which half of it was found by Deontay. I will say.
Deontay was tearing them apart.
He was looking, he was getting that money. But everybody,
No.
Go ahead.
I was about to bring something up, and it hasn't happened yet in the span. Because I was like, Deontay, I had a point. Not talking about it yet.
We'll get there.
But I was gonna say Deontay heavyweight championship of the world. His arm strength is mega. It did seem like people were having trouble with the ripping of the thing, so he had mega arm strength. So it makes sense that was something that he was good at with the arms, you know, to be able to pull open those little scarecrow things. Because he has arm strength, right? That's what he does. He punches and boxes. So it made sense that he was good at that.
No, people were just pulling the things off. They weren't like opening them, and I don't know what they were looking for, but they weren't doing a really good job.
Some people, it was like they were like digging into the scarecrow itself. And I was like, no, I think it's just on the outside. Like, I don't think you need to like completely de-stuff it. I don't know.
You don't need to be doing all that.
They're ripping it down. I'm like, baby, you don't need to do that.
Yeah, they were knocking it down. Like, I don't know what was going on.
Deontay's like, oh, this is a match. Yeah.
But see, I think for him, he was like, I'll yank it down, pull it open, and then I can find everything, which it works for him. But if you ain't got that kind of strength, just rip it open and dig in and grab the stuff out. It really didn't take all that. But half of them were looking for shields anyway, so they didn't get a chance to find but the $16,000, which was actually good for the money that they eventually found. But Dan is the only person that found the shield. Nobody else found the shield. And I was just like, that's
doesn't even need it. He
didn't even need it. Didn't need it.
Did not even need it.
I mean, also though, if you find it, are you just gonna leave it?
Oh no, I'm taking it. But it's just like, again, all those people searching through all those damn scarecrows in the back, and only Dan found one. Like, what's happening here?
Right.
But
it was interesting. But we get back to the house. Everybody is trying to figure out what they're gonna do next. What's happening here? What's gonna happen next? Who's gonna be voted? What do we do? This was one of the few times we saw Peter talking about, so hey guys, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna do this banishment? Yada yada yada. Honestly, for me, Peter can go. I don't like this man. I never liked this man. I don't like this man there. I don't like this man.
Which one's Peter?
He's the bachelor.
I don't even know him.
Bachelor guy.
Bachelor guy.
He's
Larsa, Trishelle, and Peter.
Me, I vote for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole him and Kevin had that conversation later on. We'll talk about
AKA one of the worst Bachelor leads in the entire franchise's history. Absolutely. And we had one of the other worst ones last season with Ari.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But that's why they chose them, because they're people who can be easy traitor suspects.
You know who they need to cast from Bachelor Nation? Rachel Lindsay. Thank you.
Sure.
That's all.
She can use some good news right now.
Yeah.
Oh, she really can. Let her win.
But
we love you, Rachel.
I love Rachel.
Anyway, before we travel too far, let's get to the round table, because this is where the foolishness begins and happens. And I was very annoyed. And I think this is where everybody got annoyed with this group of people. So we get to the round table, and they're like, Alan, it's like, you can discuss, take your time, let us know how you feel, blah blah blah. Yes,
I would like to speak. No, that's Peppermint straight away.
I know.
Peppermint.
I love it.
Peppermint.
No, I don't need you speaking over me. I don't need you speaking over me.
Get your hand out of my face. Like, your hand is in my face. And I don't want your hand in my face.
I'm like, who put them next to each other? Let's start there.
Exactly. Whichever PA did that, you need to be gone. Bye.
Because there's no way they chose to sit next to each other.
No.
I don't know. I think Peppermint could have chose to do that. I feel like Peppermint was like, oh, I'm going to confront this straight on. I'm going to sit right next to this.
Maybe.
And
maybe.
Sometimes the camera would have to go back and forth, so I guess she was helping the camera operators out.
Right.
Maybe. But Peppermint, she starts the conversation off. She's like, I know my name is out there, and I want to say what I want to talk to you, Trishelle, because the conversation she just went was like the conversation that we had wasn't, I didn't think it was that deep, and you are making it out to be more than what it has to be or what it is. And Trishelle is like, wait, first get your hand out of my face. Your hand is in my face, and that is disrespectful. I don't like it. Get your hand out
Her
of my
hand
face.
was literally right here. Her hand was literally right here in front of her own face.
Talking, in her face, talking. She's like, you don't disrespect me like that. I was like, okay. I was like, oh man, Trishelle, you're gonna be that girl that I just am not going to like this season. Already you're bugging me because you already started bugging us with the Peppermint situation in the first place. And now you're going into this. And so Peppermint's like, okay, fine. But I never said I didn't do this. She was trying to defend herself. It was like, I didn't make a face. I don't know where this is coming from. I have no issues or anything with you. And Trishelle was like, well, that's just how I felt. I felt like you made a like I caught you. Like, you caught me as a traitor. Like, and she was like, why would that doesn't make any sense? She was like, it just felt like I caught you in that. And so then when Peppermint is trying to defend herself, Max comes out and is like, I don't think she's a traitor. I don't think I think this whole thing is just something, Trishelle, you making up. Out of
Max is like, what are we doing here?
What are we doing this for? Like, why are we here?
He's having a very rational response, where he's like, okay, wait, this herd mentality doesn't make sense. The mistake he's making is he's calling it out. Like, yeah, it's like, Max, for your own longevity, like, shut up.
Did we expect Max Chmerkovskiy to be adept at this game? No.
And you know what? I appreciate it because, like, more people should have been sticking up for Peppermint. Like, the way this is going down is kind of egregious. So even though I felt like it was kind of like the wrong game move, it felt like the right move still for me.
Absolutely. It was definitely refreshing to see somebody who's not game body, who just try to play the game because we want to play the game. But it's like, in real life, would we sit here and let this happen? Would we tolerate this kind of mentality if we were in real life and not playing a game? And Max was like, in my life, I would never just sit there and let this kind of behavior happen and not speak up for it. So I appreciated that he didn't just sit there and let it go on. And then it was like, after Max is like, I just don't feel like this is the right move. I don't think we're looking in the right direction. This is crazy. Then Larsa steps up and is like, but Peppermint, didn't you say in the kitchen you were a traitor? And I'm like, no, she did not.
No, and there were at least 5 other people who were there who could have said anything. And I'm gonna address the elephant in the room, just like Trishelle's nose. The difficulty here is that the optics of this entire situation just do not look good. This is a group of straight people and Parvati Shallow ganging up against a black trans woman the first opportunity they get.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not...
Go ahead.
Given Trishelle's past, none of this surprises me.
And that was my thing. Because at first I'm like, I don't want my first initial reaction to be, look at all these people ganging up on a black trans woman. You know what I mean? That's not what I want my reaction and first thing to be. Do I think everybody's feelings were like that? No. Do I think Trishelle maybe had some of those biases in her, which we've seen her before? Possibly. I don't even want to say it's a definite with her, but it's a possibility with her. So I'm not going to say I think it has a very, that undertone of maybe homophobic, maybe racism, maybe a very undertone. But I'm not going to come out and be like, Trishelle, that is who you are. And everybody at that table, that is who you are. because that's not. I don't think that was the case. I don't think that's the case there.
I'm sorry, I stuck to my mouth. I think the word here is unconscious bias, not so much that it's an undertone of homophobia, transphobia, or racism. It's unconscious bias towards those things, but it's just the unconscious bias that she might not realize she has. Or other people that we know happens in games. We talk about it all the time, that these things happen in games. Not so much that I'm going to go online and be like, oh my God, Trishelle is transphobic. No, I think that's taking it a step too far. She may very well be, who knows, but not as a direct result of targeting someone in the game based on the reason why we saw them getting targeted and steamrolled by everybody else. In Traitors, people do steamroll. Like, that is a natural result of Traitors. Like, a name gets thrown out, people go, I don't like it. I appreciate Max for not doing it. But that is definitely a trend that happens in the Traitors. So I don't think everybody else steamroll because of unconscious bias. They steamroll because that's what you do in Traitors. I think Trishelle's first initial statement that caused it all, also, I think, could have come from somewhere from unconscious bias to create the target that started it without always realizing it. And again, it could be some conscious bias going on because we do kind of have seen a pattern with Trishelle sometimes. But also, I wouldn't go so far as to label anybody by any one moment on reality television.
Absolutely agree.
There were pieces of, like, for me, like, Trishelle's initial kind of encounter where I felt like she was kind of policing the way Peppermint could react to her. And I really didn't care for that, especially to, like, this, because she's a drag performer, some of her reactions are going to be a bit more outsized than you're used to seeing from your typical suburban housewife. And it felt like there was no kind of cognizance of that. And I found all of that really striking and kind of ironic from someone who claims to be an LGBTQIA friend on their Twitter profile.
Because if you know better, you know. Like you say, if you are truly ally, then you know.
Ally.
You know, and if
she doesn't claim to be an ally; she's a friend.
A friend. Oh, she's just a friend.
We can't
She has a friend
expect too much from Trishelle.
Trishelle alleges to be a friend. Lana's an ally.
I'm an ally.
Keisha's an ally.
I'm an ally.
I'm an ally. And look, I'm an ally, and I watch drag enough to know how drag queens react to things because drag queens are definitely very much, like you said, outside or a little extra, a little bit more than what normally.
Whatever could you mean, Lana?
But the reaction wasn't extra. Like,
and it
wasn't extra.
Her reaction was very much in the realm of how anybody will react to being called a traitor. It's like, what do you mean? Why would you say that in this game where people take anything and make you a traitor? Like, why would you say that in a group of people? It wasn't. But Trishelle did it, and it started the snowball of how people started reacting. Then we got a couple of people. Janelle brought up John, and Peter brought up John again with the breathing techniques and situations.
I don't remember.
Geriatric.
I don't remember who said this on Twitter, and I'm so sorry, but someone called her Tamara Judge medical detective. Because of this whole situation, I was like, I'm screaming because she's like, well, John doesn't have an inhaler, and that obviously means that he doesn't have asthma. And I'm like, Tamara's reaction here is bigger than the reaction that Peppermint gave to Trishelle. Like, what is happening? And John's like, I was asthmatic in my youth.
The way this storyline just gets increasingly absurd. You know, like, I was like, this never should have begun, but sure, like, let's continue to bring up this man's asthma until we cause him to, like, fall over.
Right. I'm like,
I guess.
I said, leave John alone. This man is not doing anything to anybody but trying to breathe, and y'all won't even let this man breathe.
He's having a hard time breathing. Let him breathe.
They're trying to literally kill him. They're like, we don't even need the traitors. We're gonna give this man an asthma attack and then take him.
Right.
I do find it, and this is why I love having someone in a completely different realm to everyone else being in the same game as these people from reality TV, because the way John speaks and the language he uses, combined with the way that Tamara's talking to him and Janelle's talking to him, I love it.
This whole interaction, Tamara kept interrupting John. John was just trying to make his point. He was just trying to make his point, and every single time he would get to the almost moment where he was going to make his real point, Tamara's like, but this and this and this. I'm like, Tamara, shut the fuck up and let him speak, please.
Oh my God, that reminds me, speaking of that, was when John, during the middle of them fighting, I forgot which round table was, when he was like, let's have some order and decorum. I'm like, baby, that is not John.
Order.
I was like, Lewis, we got the one order from him. I'm like, at the very least, we got one.
Listen, but before this season, I was like, let me get some sort of order tally, because that's his thing. He loves.
We got two so far. All I know is when he said it, I was like, we are getting Parliament at this round table, and this is what I wanted. This is the only thing I want. If anybody watched the cast assessment, that is all I said I wanted, was to get me a little bit of Parliament at the round table, because I myself enjoy watching Parliament on the BBC. It just does it for me. I just like watching it. I don't care about the laws that they pass in. I don't want to know all the stuff that's happening. I just like to hear the order. I just love the way they react. That is my favorite part of Parliament.
That's such an accurate description of white British men. It really is.
It's just
Lewis, can you attest to that?
That's what Lewis sounds like daily.
It is so fun to watch. So I was so happy when he did it, and I was like, I wanted Tamara to shut up so I can hear it, because John was like, "This is absurd." Like, I'm trying to make my point.
This is a flimsy basis.
Every time he tried to make the point,
every
time he tried to make the point, they would cut him off, and he was like, "I can't even finish the statement." It was so funny. Oh, it was like,
I am gonna say to that point, I do love me some Janelle, but I do not appreciate Janelle made John and Mark in the same way we talk about unconscious bias for people with race and sexual orientation. People go after the oldest players in these games all the time. And Janelle went straight for him early on and made John and Mark right away. But I'm like, why do we do that? Let's not do that again. Same thing happens to the oldest players, to the black players, to the brown players. Y'all need to stop it. Stop it with this. Let everybody just play the game.
She should stop, because next up is going to be her damn self.
Basically, because she's next in line.
You're next in line is the oldest person in the house, baby. So relax. But I was so mad. I was like, don't go for John. John's doing nothing but trying to. I just want to see John run some more and do what John does. That's all I want to do. And y'all keep trying to come after John.
I think it shows like a lack of perception. Like, it's so funny to me that Dan brings up John very early in the enlistment conversation as a like, haha, obviously we wouldn't pick him. And yet Janelle like can't get off his ass. It's like, Janelle, nobody wants John to be a traitor. Like, John doesn't really want to be a traitor. The traitor doesn't want John to be a traitor. Prod doesn't want John to be a traitor. Like, just let the man breathe.
The man with the beard didn't want him to be a traitor.
Lala the dog did not want him to be the traitor. Nobody wants John to be a traitor. Like, let him breathe. But we get that, and the vote happens because we really need to move along. The vote happens because we still on episode 1. The vote happens.
We're on episode 2.
No, we're on episode 2.
We're on episode 2. But the vote happens.
Could you imagine if we were only in episode 1?
Oh my God, I would die. I'm sorry.
We're like, we're gonna reconvene at a later time.
Yeah, no, that's what we're doing.
I'm like, I'm not.
No, we're not doing that. So the vote happens, and honestly, it just went. It was so ugly. It was the ugliest vote ever. I hated it. Peppermint got banished with a whole lot of votes. Like, people were like,
I think it was like 16.
They're like, I think I changed my mind at the table. I'm like, no, you didn't. The only person who I believe changed their mind at the table was Sheree. Everybody else, I was like, I don't believe none of y'all.
I was so disappointed in Sheree, and like, I understand why she did it, and I get it for a gameplay sense. Like, she's not trying to put a target on herself by trying to defend this person that everyone is 100% convinced is a traitor. I was just like, oh, Sheree. Like, of all people, I was just like, Sheree.
I was hoping she wouldn't.
And
but
we
she
know
did.
Sheree ain't sticking her neck out too much for nobody.
Nope.
Nope. No. Not
No.
nobody. And you
No.
know what? It's okay. In this situation, I get it. Well, Peppermint is banished, and so Peppermint has to go to the circle of truth. And let me just say, Peppermint handled it like the queen she is. She got up there, she walked, she slung her hair around, and I was like, yes, Peppermint, give them that moment. Take your moment, have it, and do it. And she did, and she let them know why she was there. Number one, she was like, I was here to use my platform to show about some good images, positive images of trans women. And I wanted to use my platform to show that. And I am still going to be me regardless. And I am very happy that I'm here. And we were all happy to see Peppermint. But she said, but you all were led astray because I am a faithful. And she slung her hair and she walked off. And I was like, work, Peppermint.
And I hope Trishelle felt like the absolute piece of trash. I hope she felt so bad that she is.
I said,
I'll go ahead and match that. But I love Peppermint. I'm sad. I'm depressed. But I love Peppermint.
Yeah.
If they'd called Veronica, Veronica wouldn't have done this to us.
Veronica wouldn't have done
that to her. Anissa wouldn't have done that to her. Cara Maria wouldn't have done that to her.
No, just no.
I'm not going to bring up that other woman because that incited
don't
do it.
Because she would have done it.
She would have.
She would have done it.
She would have done it. So we moved from her.
John A. wouldn't have done it.
No. Look, Killer Cam wouldn't have done it. Period.
Killer Cam's busy having babies. She ain't going on.
She got babies though. We love that for her.
But like, honestly, let her have her kids, and then like Traitors season 3 or Traitors season 4. Where's Cam?
Please.
Period.
Queen.
Work. But yeah, so we move. Everybody's like feeling bad. Max is like, I knew it. I told y'all, I knew it.
I will say it's so funny to me every time the faithful get it wrong, how like angry they are that they got it wrong, just because it's like y'all are gonna get it wrong a lot. Like the likelihood that you get it right is very low, actually. So like,
right.
It's like, are you?
But being like, I recognize, like as I vote, I'd be like, I recognize I might be wrong, but I'm voting because this is what we have to go off of right now. Like,
it's like on Are You the
that attitude?
It's like you're on Are You the One, where they send someone into the truth booth and they're not a perfect match, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" Like, yeah, you're gonna get it wrong most of the time. But this is where I had my point about Deontay earlier, because Deontay is upset. Deontay is crying, and I was like, "Oh, I love this man. Protect this man at all costs, please. I love him."
I did not think I was going to go into this and like Deontay is going to be somebody who I was like actively rooting for. I'm like, Deontay's going to be that person that's going to be there, and eventually they'll probably murder him because they're going to think he's too much of a, too likable or too much of a, not
guy's guy.
A guy's guy. Exactly. So I'm like, I don't know if he's going to, how I'm going to feel about him. But I was like, oh, Deontay is like a fighter with a heart of gold. Like, he's kind of like, yeah, I'm tough in the ring, but outside, I'm like, he writes poetry. Like, he's somebody like, he writes poetry and he likes unicorns and he's just so sweet. He's a teddy bear. I don't know if he does all this stuff. I'm just saying that's what he feels like.
He's a little overly emotional sometimes.
Yeah. Yes.
But it's okay to have emotions. He just sometimes lets his emotions rule his decision making in a way that can be detrimental, both in life. I say that personally, and you see it in the game when he goes after Max for no reason.
Yes, I would say we'll see that. Yeah. So he's emotional, and everybody's like, I don't know. I'm just sad, and this is happening, and we don't know what to do. But then we get to see everybody goes to bed because now it's time for us to see who this new traitor is. The traitors get to finally meet for the first time. All 3 traitors.
Yes.
And Dan and Phaedra go in there and they're waiting. And Parvati comes in and she takes off her hood. And Dan and Phaedra takes off their hoods, and she's shocked. Like all day, she's been talking to Dan.
Yes.
And Dan is like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm not a traitor. I'm not faithful." Da, da, da. She's like, "Oh, I trust you. I believe you. I believe you." She believed Dan 100% that he was a faithful.
Yes.
And she had no suspicions of Phaedra at all. And so it was a moment. I enjoyed that moment. I thought it was a good, cute little moment to see how shocked she was that it was Dan and Phaedra. And then they were like, "Oh, we're gonna make a great team together. They can work." And actually, I kind of thought this was like a good little balance of traitors.
I don't think it's a good balance of Parvati, because I do think Parvati and Dan are already too closely aligned and they talk to too many of the same people. I think they really should have gone for like a Peter or MJ or somebody who is in touch with a different side of the house. So they are getting that information all over between the three of them.
Yeah, I agree with you, Kisha. I think that like the CBS connection is kind of obvious. So like there's always the chance that if you get Dan out, it's like, well, who would Dan have enlisted, or vice versa?
Yep.
I think that's like a huge flaw. The only thing I like Parvati, so I'm thrilled she gets chosen. I do think Parvati stands a better chance of working well with Phaedra more so than Dan. I feel like in that first turret ceremony, Dan really wanted to push his way. I'm hoping that Parvati and Phaedra, once Dan's out of the way, can be a bit more collaborative. I also think that like Parvati is more capable of like getting back under the radar after having come above it in a way that I'm less convinced Dan is going to be able to do.
Agreed.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I think that Dan is more like, as of right now, he's like the head traitor, and Parvati and Phaedra are going to be like, well, they're going to let him believe he's the head traitor, you know, because that's what us women do. We let you men believe that you're running the whole show, but behind the scenes,
but really you just setting yourself up to fall.
Exactly. It's like,
right.
You go ahead and take that fall for me while you're running the show. And then when they start getting on to who we are, they see you first. And by that time, I've been eased all the way back under the radar and you don't know I'm there. So yeah, and we'll see in this episode how that works, because it was moments happening that when they started the next episode, people were already saying Dan's name.
And I think part of it was Marcus was like, Dan, you're really quiet. So you're one of the quiet people, but there's other people quiet too. But Marcus's problem is Marcus was talking too much to the wrong people.
And the traitors get to banish somebody, murder someone. And so they're talking of who should be murdered. And the list is Mark, Deontay,
Janelle, maybe?
Janelle, maybe.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, Dan's not going to get rid of Janelle. I knew that.
When Phaedra brought up Janelle, I was like, well, that ain't happening. So great. It's Deontay or Marcus.
I was like, Deontay or Marcus.
Yeah.
Okay. Here the brothers got it. It's like, here we go. So Peppermint and then Deontay or Marcus. Okay.
I was going to say, at least I got rid of a white man first.
That's what I say. Johnny got rid of first, though. I wasn't that mad. I was like, Johnny's gone. So now Deontay or Marcus. Okay, sure. And the reason for Marcus, they were like, like you said, he talks a lot. He's very smart. He talks to the wrong people.
The couple.
Larson been there of it all. The couple, they were kind of like, we need to break the couple up because I don't know.
He also seems like the more competent half of the couple.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That seems like it, but really is.
No, absolutely.
Like
I'm about to say actual factual. There ain't no seem like to it. He actually is the most competent one. It is what it is. But Deontay, because everyone's like, people like him, people will be shocked to why Deontay would go. If we kill Deontay, it will be more of a shock factor and da. So we go down to breakfast and people start coming in. Maxon, Larsa, and Phaedra comes in first, and they're like, Larson's like, is he for Marcus? if he happens to come. And Phaedra like, girl, what you mean if he happens to come? He come. Don't you worry. I was like, oh,
You gotta manifest it.
she was like, you gotta manifest it. He's coming, girl. I was like, she was like, I hope so.
I love this shady ass production of putting Larsa in the first group, so she has to watch every other person walk into that breakfast room.
Shady.
Every other person.
And them starting with, was it Phaedra or was somebody else saying, oh, let's leave a chair? Are you leaving a chair for
Larsa
It was
said that
Larsa.
first. She said that first, and Phaedra was like, oh, girl, what you mean if he come in? Manifest it. He'll be here. Don't you worry about it.
I was like,
no,
this is messy,
like,
yeah,
he ain't
this
coming.
is messy.
It was so
Well,
messy.
Julie.
I was like, well, it was so funny. And so Larsa had to sit through everybody coming in. It was like, no. No. It's like, oh, Larsa, that's messed up. But it was funny. I laughed every single second of it. But everybody comes in.
That's probably what happened too when he was like, at the kindergarten. She was waiting for him to come out from school.
Kisha, no, we're not doing that, Kisha. No,
I'm so sorry.
No. We move.
Anyway, Marcus didn't show up and he was murdered.
He was murdered. Somebody is being messy boots up in here today.
I know production was very messy. Yes, production. So sad that Marcus went. I really like Marcus. I really enjoy. I really was hoping to see more of Marcus all season. So of the pair, I wanted to get rid of Larsa, but we had to lose Marcus.
Now, what pissed me off in this moment is Larsa's like, well, now Marcus is gone, and now I need to find a traitor, and I'm going to vote out a traitor. Girl, what the hell you been doing for 2 episodes? now you want to play you thought you were just at a retreat in the Scottish Highlands.
Now, little boyfriend.
Now you want to play traitors? Girl, bye. Bye. No.
Jesus
I was
Christ.
like, as much as I really, really wanted Alan to be petty and be like, oh, Marcus is gone. Bam. Just throw the picture down. Like, I would have just lived for it. Like, she didn't deserve to get the picture. Like, here you go. Like,
he's
not dead. He just went home.
You're going to see him in 2 weeks. He is at a hotel somewhere in Scotland right now.
Like, finding a nice woman who's in her 20s.
What was the comment he made after? So he gave the photo and then he made a comment, and then I can't remember what the comment was, but I remember laughing as soon as he said it.
I don't remember.
Something like, "Oh, that's a real mood killer" or something.
Yes.
Yes.
It was like, rest in peace, Marcus. And Alan's like, well, that was a real mood killer. Anyway, you're doing your mission now. We're doing the mission at night. I'm
gonna say he ain't dead. He's literally like in the hotel with Johnny and
Peppermint.
And Peppermint chilling at the pool. Like, relax, calm down, rest in peace. What?
I will say the risk though of them killing Marcus was that Marcus had already told Larsa his suspicions about Dan, which is the reason why they killed him. And that risk definitely came to fruition because then Larsa was on Dan's neck.
Yeah.
And will continue to do so for the foreseeable future until one of them leaves.
I want to know, why weren't they on Trichelle's neck but pointing the finger at Peppermint and being wrong? Why did that not come up anyway? Why was that not even an option, baby? I would have been at that table like, we should be writing down Trichelle's name either because Trichelle's a traitor or Trishelle is a bad faithful. I don't care either way. We helping out ourselves. We helping out the faithfuls by writing Trishelle. That would have been my logic right there.
Absolutely, but we don't throw that. We don't really care that this because she cried. You know what happens when we have
white woman tears. I
don't care about nobody's tears. I'm so heartless. Like, please, your tears can wet the paper you writing on. Just write Trishelle. That's all.
Absolutely. Because in any other traitors situation that we watched, when somebody is that gung ho about somebody and they're wrong, We turn around the next week and we go for them. Ain't that how it works?
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly.
Unless you're towards the end of the game or you just can't afford to do that too easily. At the beginning of the game, if you're going to be that strong and wrong, you either a traitor or, like I said, you're a bad faithful and you can't be here. Because you can't steer us wrong that fast, that quick for no reason.
And she's not providing in the challenges, so like, why keep her?
Yeah.
Right.
No, you can go. You're not giving me any money either, please.
Yeah. But we find out that the mission is going to be at night, so they all get to have their discussions, doing all their things, and this is where many people in front of Parvati go, I think it could be Dan. Dan's not talking to anybody. Dan's being very quiet. We literally just saw in the last challenge, he said he was voted the person that should speak up more. And Parvati's like, shit, what did I get roped into? Like, oh no, not this. And then separately, there's a conversation where Larsa is like, well, a man has to be behind these two murders because a woman wouldn't have killed Bananas and Marcus first.
Nope.
Like,
so to shoot
also, it's a mixture. Why is it all men or all women? You realize it's a mixture, right? These people are
I genuinely don't think Larsa had ever heard of this show before, and they decided to pay her money, and she said yes. Probably. Or they cast Marcus, and Larsa was like, "Can I go too?" But Dan in this conversation, watching Larsa go, I think we need to target men.
He doesn't really give anything. It's like, Dan, throw out a man's name. You throw out a man you're suspicious of.
Say
you know what I mean?
Anyone's name.
Something.
Say something, Dan.
I mean, they've already made it easy for you. They've told you which gender they want to go for. So just
right.
You've had no issue going after men up till now. Why stop?
Or what? 8 other men? 7? Something like that? Any of them. But no, he's like, I'm not a vibe person, I'm an action person. And I'm like, the action is going to be you getting banished sooner rather than later.
But also, I feel Dan in that moment where it's like, you're not going to force me to say a name just because you want me to. Like,
exactly.
Like, I am who I am. Like, y'all know I'm not a fan of Dan, but in that way, I do respect Dan. Like, I'm just really just here for the bit. And I do understand, like, you can't say you don't like my personality and that that's the reason why I'm a traitor because of my personality. When, if you do know Dan enough, not everybody there does, but you do know Dan is a quiet person in general. So this doesn't go too far against his character that people who know him know. And so I just be like, you're not going to force me now to be a different person because you don't like my personality. Like, that would be disingenuous of me and be very traitor-like, you know? And so that portion of it I get, but it's like, okay, maybe don't do it because somebody's forcing you to in the moment, but definitely find a way to step out and do a little bit more so that you're stop getting a target on you, you know? But like in that moment where she's like, I think it's a man, I don't necessarily think he needs to start defending himself immediately because I feel like that would be so disingenuous and it would just, they would then use that against him and be like, pull a Trishelle and be like, well, the minute I said it was a man, you started having defense. So I think it was you. Like she was going to find any excuse to point it at Dan. Yeah. There's no way in the world I don't think that Marcus told Larsa he thought it was Dan and that Larsa did not come out thinking guns blazing. My man got killed is definitely Dan now. So I don't think anything he did in that moment was going to help him in that moment. But I do think he needs to, like, you know, once Parvati told him in private what was happening, he should have been using that to try to help himself more.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because at this point, I don't think he knows how widespread his name is. But he does have the clue. No. But he does have the clue that in the last competition, he was the one who was the quietest. You know, so it's not like he's without a warning at this point.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's just kind of slow to react. it's like a delayed reaction from him. It's like, okay, what do I, because he's used to Big Brother where you have an entire week of strategy stuff, whereas in this it's daily. So
and there's no strategy. It's just who heard a rustle. You know, Dan, like, don't worry about it.
Who can't breathe? Who allegedly doesn't have an inhaler? Who has implicit bias? All those things. There's no. He's trying to play a strategy game when this is a game without much strategy.
At least at this point.
Yeah, in the beginning at least. But we go to the mission, Lana.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Continue.
I was going to cue it back to you, but that's fine. So the mission, a cute little mission. We are grave robbing, and production again with the Marcus grave. I was like, they really don't like Larsa. They really hate this woman.
I loved it. I
love this.
I'm surprised it wasn't a cradle. At least it was just a grave.
Kisha.
What happened?
Kisha.
What happened?
I warned you. We moved from this.
I'm just here for a bit.
I love the bit.
I love the bit. Because you with your Dan bit is me with my Janelle bit. And I love it. And I'm here for it. But, so we're grave digging for gold or shields in some cases. But there's these spotlights that are going around. And if you get caught by a spotlight, you're eliminated.
Yes.
This was a goddamn mess until everyone decided to listen to Bergie. And I was like,
they should have listened to Bergie sooner.
I was so excited that he gave me a reason to know who he was.
Yes.
Because he really ate the fuck out of this challenge.
Bergie 4 + 4 this year is so bad. I was like, yes, Bergie.
I was convinced. I was like, this mid-white man is not somebody I need to know. And then he was like, no, y'all, I'm smart too. And I was like, okay, enough. That's all I needed.
Bergie is a huge nerd and a huge gamer. Like, of course, Bergie was going to be like, this is a game. Let me figure this out. Like, we would all love, Bergie would play these games with us and we would love Bergie. Like, I want to know, because I couldn't tell whose voice it was. Who was that who kept telling Bergie he was wrong? And they were like,
Sandra.
Look, Sandra, she'll get on my bad side because Sandra needed to shut up. I'm like, stop telling Bergie he wrong when he right. Shut up.
On my bad side, but whatever.
Yeah, Sandra can live there.
Yeah, Sandra could go.
It was like, it doesn't work. I was like, it does work. It's literally telling you what the pattern is. It's not working. The pattern
also, Sandra, you have never been in a competition in your life. Like, why are you bothering right now?
From the woman who has never won an individual challenge in her entire existence on Survivor. No.
Yeah, you can't tell.
I might listen to Sandra on some things. I'm not listening to Sandra when it comes to a challenge.
I'm gonna listen to Sandra when she say this person is giving her the wrong vibe, like that vibe is off. I'm like, okay, Sandra has a good instinct on people.
At the round table, we can listen to Sandra.
I can listen to Sandra, but I don't listen to.
Not even really.
Pointing at faithfuls left and right. Like, I trust Sandra when it comes to like getting the target on somebody else. Like, Sandra knows how to throw somebody under the bus. Now, if she's throwing the right person under the bus, who knows? But like, she'll get somebody under there.
True, I can agree. I can agree to that. But I'm not listening.
But Bergie slayed this challenge. That was the point. Bergie slayed, baby. Bergie slayed.
Bergie MVP'd it.
He did. He ate this challenge up. He was like, "Look, there is a pattern. I know the pattern. If y'all." And it took all the people losing for them to finally realize we got down to one person left. For them to finally realize, oh wait, Bergie know what he's talking about, and we should listen to him.
Also, Uncle CT getting so excited to play and then immediately getting himself eliminated because he was too excited was very cute. I feel like he's used to competitions being like much more physical and difficult, and like these are a little too carnival house games for him, and he's too excited. He's like a little kid. I love it.
Well, he was excited he found that hammer. He was like, I can beat something.
I was like,
flop, CT, flop.
I said, I love that CT was able to like find the hammer first and was like, I'm gonna tear this thing up. I'm gonna get the shield. Whop, whop. And then it was like, oh, I'm caught. Well, all right.
My favorite part is when Alan goes, we're down to the final replacement, Kevin. Just dropping his tone and voice. I was like, God damn, Alan. Like,
he's like,
to come for this attractive man like this.
Kevin, start. It was like the reflect. It was like down our final replacement, Kevin. No, I was like, no, you're not gonna take it right back up when it's time to start. It was Alan don't like that man.
Other favorite moment. Janelle being like, I want to go into the second group because all these guinea pigs need to go first.
Yes.
Can we talk about Janelle in this challenge?
We will talk about Janelle.
We're going to get there. Like,
yeah,
Janelle, this is not...
Because this is where I was like...
Titans.
I feel like we could be there now.
Yeah, actually, because she does let those guinea pigs go. She also lets the guinea pigs find a shield for her.
She is not playing. She is not a team player.
She's never claimed to be a team player.
She wasn't a team player. What do you mean?
I mean, here's the thing. Janelle was like, look here. I got my eye on the shield. I'm going to go get it. Now, we can argue if Ekin-Su was there, if Ekin-Su had her hand on the shield, if Janelle had her hand on the shield. We can argue back and forth who had what. But the fact remains, if Ekin-Su had her hand on that shield, Janelle snatched that shield out that girl's hand and was like, mine, and ran. And I'm like, can you really be mad at Janelle for snatching the shield out her hand? No, because this is
she didn't realize this was a pole wrestle.
Right.
You know, they had a pole wrestle going here. And Janelle knew
was not ready.
Ekin-Su wasn't ready for
Syrians up from Minnesota.
She wasn't cut out for this. She wasn't ready for somebody like a Janelle in the mix who was like, I don't care who you are. I don't care how pretty you are. I don't care how popular in the UK you are. What I'm worried about right now is me and this shield, and you're in between that. So I'm going to snatch the shield from you.
Give me that. It's very good. Exactly. At least Ekin-Su has won a reality show.
That is true. I mean,
what did Ekin-Su win?
Love Island UK.
Love Island.
Okay. Which is like, look, in the UK, that's a big deal. Just like, whatever.
My point was that Janelle hasn't won.
We know.
I gotta keep up the Janelle. I gotta keep up
the love of fans. It's okay.
Not me.
It's okay. We didn't ask
Sometimes the best player doesn't win.
Ekin-Su is tough in her own right. Ekin-Su just did not know the force that Janelle is.
Here's my thing though.
That's that shield.
Here's what go ahead, Lewis. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, in a game like this, Janelle's. I mean, she gotta stop doing this. She gotta stop doing this at some point.
Why though? Why?
Because people are gonna look at her sideways. The amount of times that she's trying to go for a
edit.
What?
She can be Kate this season, right? Like,
I don't think Janelle go get the Kate this year. I don't think Janelle go get the Kate.
She's gonna get the Kate because I think someone else is gonna get the Kate.
Here's the thing: why I say I don't think Janelle's gonna get the Kate, because Kate wasn't as aggressive as Janelle right out the gate. It took Kate to get towards the end to start being Kate. Janelle is being Kate right away, and already people are like, she's selfish. She ain't here for the team. She's here for herself. And that's going to get her to the middle of the game, but I don't think it's going to get her to the end of the game if she continues to be that aggressive. Now, I ain't saying Janelle can't be Janelle. I want Janelle to be Janelle. I want Janelle to have, win stuff and be competitive. But if she wants to survive in this game, she got to learn how to bring it back a little bit and bring out the aggressive side when she needs to, but not every single time. Like, Janelle has gone for the shield every single. You got to take a break. Like, she went for the third in the field.
No, right. She didn't go for the second time. Janelle went for gold the second time.
She went for it, but she couldn't find it.
She was a team player once.
No, she was going into the gold pits in the Scarecrow. She was doing gold in the Scarecrow.
How is 1 out of 3
How'd you know?
Good enough?
1 out of 3? Okay, yeah.
The shields were in a particular area.
She has to learn how to. All I'm saying, she has to bring it back a little bit. Now, I ain't saying not be Janelle, but just a little bit.
I don't know. I think that Janelle's more in trouble when it comes to the traitors than it is like the faithful. I think that like she's going to end up getting these shields too often, and the traitors are going to want to snipe her when she's vulnerable because she's going to keep not being an option at a time that maybe they want to consider it. I actually think too, like Janelle's whole fuck the geriatrics shtick from episodes 1 and 2 was resonating with the other housewives. So, I think she could build herself a little bit of a power base where maybe she can be selfish sometimes.
And I agree. If you notice in that vote, when the people did choose between them to vote, they voted Ekin-Su. They did not vote Janelle.
Yep.
That is true.
Because Janelle
Kisha, this
does
is fun
have
being
that
on the
social
same team
connection already that is keeping her safe. Even though people are like looking at her sideways, they're not looking at her sideways like vote her out because they're like, whatever. They don't think she's a traitor. And I see the idea that, she's probably not helping us. But they're also clearly not focused on keeping the money or trying to get the money and using it as of right now. That doesn't seem the motivator for voting for banishment or for murder because they wouldn't have gotten rid of Max. He is a strong, athletic competitor. Like, why the freak you banishing Max? You already got Johnny gone. Like, they not smart.
I will say this though. I did appreciate this from Ekin-Su. Ekin-Su wasn't backing down from Janelle. Ekin-Su wasn't just gonna be like, sure, okay, fine. Ekin-Su was like, I'm gonna say my piece and I'm gonna do my part, and you can like me or not, we go battle it out. So they were like, because we've seen Janelle go against some people and then they shrivel up and they don't say nothing.
Baby, that's not Ekin-Su.
That is not Ekin-Su at all. Ekin-Su was like, what you not gonna do is come at me like this. And then on the flip side, when we get to the round table, when that happens, she like, on the flip side, what you not gonna do is act like you just gonna deflect stuff on us when we talking about you. So I appreciated that about Ekin-Su. She has shown she is not gonna be no punk, and she ain't gonna wither away, and she's not just like, oh, I'm just here and I'm cute and you can talk to me any kind of way. Absolutely not. And you not gonna do me any kind of way. Because she was like, I don't like a selfish bitch when it comes to Janelle. I don't like her. I don't like how she acted when she snatched that thing from me, and she knows she snatched that thing. And Janelle was like, I didn't snatch no thing. She like, you did, and you know you did, and stop acting like you didn't do it. And Janelle was like, I didn't do that. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the women. Like, what we're not gonna do is be flowers on the wall, and we just not go. They was going for each other, and I was like, I liked it. I liked it.
I also wonder if Janelle is cognizant of the fact that she did what she did, because sometimes people do things in the heat of the moment that they don't really remember, and I'm like, girl, you did take that from Ekin-Su. Like, I'm not going to even pretend. Like, I'm harmed. Like, can you get out of the way? Like, can you move, please?
No, Janelle is still focused on getting the shit. She ain't see nobody. She ain't see Ekin-Su. Girl was just getting the shit.
Because she even said, she was like, can I take this?
No, but she didn't say it to Ekin-Su. She said it to Peter, whoever it was who had just broken it.
Peter.
Yeah, he broke it. And so she was like, and he had one. So she was like, oh, can I take it?
But I'm like, Janelle, you literally fell on Ekin-Su to act like you ain't know she was there. You literally fell on her, on top of her. You knew she was there.
No, I don't think she didn't know she was there.
She could have done it harder.
She's just saying her hand wasn't in there getting the shield. That was the argument. Whose hand was inside the shield?
We saw both of them reaching in there.
Oh, Tay's giving hater.
It is. I love it though, but like, who's right, who's wrong in this decision? We don't know because we weren't there.
Janelle's right because Janelle got the shield. Right. It's about Janelle.
Because I'm not going to do that to Ekin-Su. All I'm going to say is whoever got the shield got the shield.
Right. No, I agree. And I love Ekin-Su. Ekin-Su is my girl. Like, I ride with Ekin-Su. But
I think Ekin-Su, in her mind or in her vision of things, Ekin-Su said, yeah, I had my hand on it. I touched it. And
possession is not against the law. Touching it is not saying you want
it. Exactly. I'm going to say possession is, if you got it in your possession, it's yours, period. So Janelle has it and had it in her possession. So it was hers. So both could be right. Both could be right. I wasn't mad at this whole situation. I actually rather enjoyed it. And I love that we got the meme of Eric saying, I'm harmed to come back because Janelle was beating it, snatching stuff out of folks' hands. But
James's
love to
meme
see
never dies. That
meme never dies, and we love that. But so Janelle and Ekansu had their little moment. They in the car, separate moments, but then
there's lots of moments.
There's moments happening, and yeah, I don't know. Do we go right to the round table? Are we?
Yeah. We go to the round table.
Let's talk about in between all of this, what started the whole Max thing.
Oh,
yeah,
because Deontay brings up to Parvati and Dan were there. I don't know if anybody else was there, but I know the two of them were there. Deontay's like, I'm going for Max because there's been a dramatic change in behavior, in Deontay's words. And Max didn't look surprised when Marcus didn't show up to breakfast. And it's like, that's just how Max is.
Right.
Max is a very even-keeled kind of person.
Max is a very Russian man who who does not show a lot of emotions on anything.
Yes.
And we've seen, if you watch Dancing with the Stars, the only time we see Max show emotion is
anger.
when Max is upset. That's it. We don't have happy Max. Winning Max, happy Max, angry Max. That's it. There's no in between Max. There is happy, anger, period. And so when I'm like, he's changed? No. He's really just been the same Max he's been since he got there.
He did not look good at all. He did not make himself look good at all. When there was that conversation that he walked in on, and they were like, "Oh, you can come in." No, Max is not coming in. He's fucking walking backwards. That looked so fucking suspect.
And I think he did that a couple other times
he did it twice.
too. He needs to just start talking to the people in the rooms he enters rather than seeing them and turning around.
Well, too late now. But
no.
Was he the best social person in this game? Absolutely not. No. But I don't think his mannerisms would dramatically change, like Deontay said. Like Deontay was like, he dramatically
he was just
changed.
awkward the whole time.
Absolutely. And he took up for people when they were just like, no, this isn't how it is. I don't think he was awkwardly changed. But Deontay told CT this as well, was like, it's just he just changed his whole mannerisms. I don't get it. And that's who I'm going for. And baby, when we get to the round table, that's exactly what he does. He's like, I have to talk. I have to say this. This needs to be said. It's somebody here who has changed, who is different, who is not the person they were when they first walked in. And that is you, Max. I was like, no, you're not trying to give us dramatics, Deontay.
Well, and he does all.
It's not your forte, baby.
And he does all of this after two people have correctly been putting heat on Dan.
Right.
It's like
he
the
definitely
faithful
stole
are on the right track, and he's like, "No,
he derailed
y'all.
The whole thing. He derailed the whole thing.
I've got to ruin shit."
I loved it.
Hold on, wait. We on the right path here? Wait, time out. Let me.
Faithful got a faithful, y'all. We're getting too good.
But you forget, boxers are dramatic. Like that's part of their shtick when they're like pre-match. They like go against the dramatics, the talking, the smack talking. Like that is a part of his thing. So like him being dramatic was not surprising to me at all.
It's so funny. I was just like, what? Because MJ brought up Dan. MJ was like, Dan, you are too quiet. You're not talking to people. We don't feel like you are, I don't know, you're just too quiet. Then Larsa backed her up and was like, yeah, I think something is off with you. I've been feeling like something has been off with you. So I just think it's something going on with you. And Deontay said, hold on. Deontay said, hold on, but wait. Because we can't blame Dan for being who he is. He's just quiet. That's just his nature. We can't blame him, but what we can do is blame Max for changing.
Let's not blame. let's not blame Dan for how he is, but let's blame Max for how he is.
He doesn't realize that's how Max is, though. So in his mind, he thought he was on to something.
But the funny thing is, it's not even MJ or Larsa that is the first person to bring up Dan. It's Bergie.
No.
Bergie starts the round table going, Dan.
Oh yeah, he basically Dan. If you
Oh,
want to
that's
speak,
because
you
they
can
wanted
speak.
Dan to talk.
He
He's
was
like,
like,
Dan.
we heard
Oh,
your name. We
yeah,
heard your name a lot, Bergie. I mean, we heard your name a lot, Dan. So I want to give you the opportunity
Oh, completely.
to say something. Dan.
After that challenge, we saw a confidence in Bergie I've never seen before. Like even from that point on, he was like, "All right, I'm in this now."
Yeah.
I also kind of respect it to the extent that where it's like, if there's clearly a name out on the table already,
Absolutely.
like that person probably should go ahead and open the conversation anyways. So like, I don't know. I appreciated that Bergie did it and did so in a way, not where he was like immediately putting heat on Dan, but kind of like giving Dan the floor.
I just thought it was so random. I thought it was so random. Like, of all people, it was Bergie. I was like, okay, work.
He was
that for Bergie.
insistent on making sure I remembered who he was this episode. Success.
And I appreciate that, but I'm the opposite. I don't think just because some people have your name out that person will floor, because there's other people's names that are out there you just don't know. Just because your side of the house is talking that name doesn't mean there wasn't another name out there. So like,
John still can't breathe. Why are we bringing him up first?
If you want to talk, you speak up. Like you shouldn't yield the floor to someone else. You speak up if you got something to say, or if I got something to say, I'm gonna speak up. Don't start the conversation by pointing the table at somebody else to speak. You say what you got to say, and then if I want us to give a response, let me give my response.
It was interesting. But those are the names that were brought up. But then again, they started talking about John, and they started talking. It's just weird. This whole round table kind of was weird.
Deontay brings up Max, and Max is like, well, that's just how it is. But what about Janelle and Ekin-Su?
Right.
Yeah. And Janelle and Ekin-Su really don't take to that. And so that puts more heat on Max. And then I also
CT jumps in.
And Sandra calls out Max for this like laughing thing. Where Max gets caught laughing at something, and she found that really damning.
It was at the last round table.
It was when Peppermint was banished, but Max chuckled because Max knew that he was right.
Yeah, totally.
And he was like, I'm chuckling because he was waiting for Peppermint to let Trishelle have it, which she could have and should have. And he was like, she gonna let her have it, and I can't wait to see it. Like he was ready to eat popcorn in that moment, which we all sit there and do. And be like, ooh, ooh. Ooh.
It felt like
Max is like, I know I'm right.
It felt like a moment though where Sandra was getting like she felt very persuasive in that moment, even though she was like wrong. And I'm curious what her relationships are like amongst those faithful, because I could see her having some sway. Like she's like the second voice that kind of gets on the Max bandwagon.
Right.
And also Deontay has been a heavyweight champion of the world, makes millions of dollars. And I know the rest of these people make money, but he can beat up anybody they want him to beat up for them, baby. I'm behind the boxer. I'm behind the fighter.
Right.
Let me be on your side, dude, because you got me in a dark alley. So whatever he say, go. That's what they was doing. They was like, I'm gonna get him on my side. That's it. That's all.
I love like Ekin-Su bringing like the one line she made where she's like, oh, and yes, and breathing is suspect, and blinking is suspect.
Yes.
Breathing,
Ekin-Su's like, y'all
blinking.
ridiculous at this point. But then CT speaks and is like, yes, I have my own suspicions of you, Max, for XYZ. And then Max is like, well, I was thinking about you, CT. And CT's like, oh, so now I'm a third suspect of yours. It's clear that you only bring people up when they talk about you. Like you clearly are showing traitor behavior. And it was like, oh, I think that's still the deal for Max. I don't know that just because Deontay spoke up that Max was in hot water. I think Max turning on Janelle and Ekin-Su didn't help him. But the minute Max said, oh, and you too, CT, still
don't go after Uncle CT.
Right.
And well, it's not even about going after CT, but it was like that. It was very much like defensive, like, okay, I'm going to say anybody's name I can't. At that point, that's still the deal. Everybody's like, okay, this seems like a traitor. Anybody you think you can stick it on, you going to stick it on? That seems like a traitor.
But don't worry, Larsa can't go a single second without talking about how Dan Dan, I don't like Dan.
I
That's
mean,
because Marcus told Larsa Dan was it. I'm convinced, and Marcus was right.
I'm too.
Because
right.
Larsa ain't smart, so I know Larsa didn't do that on her own. Marcus told Larsa.
Let's be honest, Larsa probably can't remember all these damn people's names, and so Marcus told her one name that was Dan, and she's like, all right, well, it's Dan. I don't know any other people but Dan.
Here's the thing. I ain't finna sit here and call this woman stupid. I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna say she's dumb and she don't remember names. But I am convinced that Marcus was the one who let her know that Dan is somebody who she needs to look after. And she was like, and now Marcus is gone. Right after he told me Dan has got to be it. And Marcus was right. So in the swing of things, even if it was Marcus who told Larsa, if Larsa goes after Dan and gets it right, she is going to look like somebody who is faithful, and she's going to be looking like after somebody who is trustworthy and somebody you want to keep around for a minute.
And Larsa's going to get killed right after that.
Yep.
I don't like Larsa necessarily, but like a midget of credit for remaining focused on Dan and being correct, because Dan did come into that deliberation very poised and capable of making like a good argument for why they should go elsewhere, and she stayed focused. And like maybe it's because she's stubborn and, you know, not very open. I don't know her well enough to make any judgments about it, but like credit, because she was right and she stayed right.
Absolutely.
Who knew that Dan's ultimate adversary would be Larsa Pippen?
Oh, baby.
Oh my fucking God.
Who knew?
How?
Who knew? How?
I'm going to go back and watch Big Brother. I'm going to be like, did Dan say a lot of bad stuff about Scott Pippen?
Was Dan actually as good as we actually thought he was? Because Larsa Pippen is eating him alive right now. And that should not be the case. It should not be the case with the Dan that we watched falling in the trap.
I'm convinced, because Dan is like LA, right? I'm convinced Dan must have been talking about Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and the Bulls a lot, because that's my only thought, is that Larsa's after him for a whole different reason.
Look here, I am a Chicago girl. Chicago is my home. Michael Jordan is king in my life. A GOAT. He is the GOAT. Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, you can't get a better duo than them for me. Or anybody else, you can argue with your mom. But I was like, this here unholy connection between Marcus and Larsa is weird and unholy for me, but I want them to eat it up because of the Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen of it all. That's it.
Sure.
That's it for me. But Larsa is eating up. Marcus clocked Dan right away, and Larsa is sticking to the Dan plan. I'm okay with it. I ain't mad at it. I'm like, if she get him, I think, because me personally, I think out of all the traitors, I think Dan gonna be the first to go. He is not long in this world. He is not long in this world at all. But and if it's Larsa the one that convinces everybody to take him down, I'm laughing the entire time. But
you know who else wasn't long for this world?
Yeah, Max. Not long for this world.
And Dan is a Michigan man, so that makes sense. If he was a Pistons guy, that he would be.
He probably said some stuff about Michael Jordan.
I'm sure
he did. Yeah, that's what it was.
He did.
Marcus had heard something he said about his daddy, Larsa,
and that set it off. I'm convinced that's what set it off. They got nothing to do with them figuring out that he's a freaking traitor.
Yeah. I'm with you, Kisha.
Max goes, but the vote is kind of all over the place.
I love it. I love that it wasn't.
The vote is amazing.
So, do we want to go through all the votes?
No.
Well,
I don't mean to be rude, but like, no.
Okay, fine.
The vote numbers, though, we had like
it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
like
6, 7, 8.
There's like 4 for Dan.
There's 10 for Max.
10 for Max, 4 for Dan.
Pete got some.
Because
Peter and Kevin decided to vote for each other, which was
Kevin got 2.
Yeah.
Janelle got 1.
Because
Ekin-Su got more votes than Janelle.
Yeah, Ekin-Su got 2.
Well, and obviously Max is not a traitor.
Not a traitor. And everybody's like, and Deontay is
ruined.
ruined. Gutted. He is like, are you? He was so convinced. He had convinced himself that it was Max, and when it wasn't, he was ruined. He was done for. And I was like, oh, he was like,
I have to say, I was spoiled on that piece of it because there was already a news article out that was like Deontay Wilder emotional over accused. I didn't know Max was banished, but it was like Deontay Wilder emotional and cries over accusing Max of being a traitor. And I didn't know what stage that happens, but I already saw that headline, so I was like, so I'm kind of happy it happened early, so it's over with, and now I know it happens. Because I was like, I thought maybe it happened at the first thing, because I'm like, how is this spoiler? Like, how is this already a headline in the news?
mm-hmm.
Because it was literally right when the episodes dropped that I saw it. So I was like, what? I was like, oh, it must be happening at some point in the show, like who knows when.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I didn't read the article or anything. I literally saw the headline. I was like, ooh, move on, traitor. But it was this point. It was
good.
You could have took his heart and snatched it out of his chest and threw it on the floor. That's how he was, just so emotional. He was just like, no. And people were trying to talk to him. He was just like, I did that. I can't do this. Like, who would have thought Deontay Wilder, heavyweight champion of the world, would not be able to handle traitors? And if you don't know him, sure, you don't know him, and you would have never suspected. I was say, if you know him, you probably be like, yeah, that is very much Deontay. If you know him,
Kisha knows him, then yes.
That's why I'm saying Kisha, yes. When you raised your hand, I was like, you don't know nothing. Kisha, I would agree, she know him. But like, I would never. And like Deontay, like I said, I'm from Birmingham. Deontay lives here in Birmingham, in Birmingham. I've seen Deontay several times, but I don't know this man. Never met this man. Never had a conversation with this man. So I would never think heavyweight champion of the world, this boxer would be like, I can't handle accusing somebody of something that they aren't, and it's too much for my heart and my soul, and I'm gutted. Like the gamer me, I'm like, I accused you. I'm sorry, my bad.
Right.
You can go. I'm sorry, I accused you. We'll talk after the game if you're still mad. But other than that, I don't care.
Because you're like, you physically punch and box and take hits and do stuff every day, but then you can't handle the emotional, like striking and
part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so weird. But he was so upset. I felt bad for him though. And you know who comforted him?
Phaedra. Mama Phaedra gonna come through.
Phaedra. And this is why Phaedra's going to get to the end of this game. I'm saying this now. Phaedra's getting to the end of this game because she is like comforting people when they're hurt. And she's like, I love all these people. I really like these people, but they have to die. I'm like,
speaking of dying.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
We don't have a traditional murder this evening.
No.
Oh God.
This is wild.
I love this. All three traitors get a letter saying that they have to murder in plain sight.
I was like,
So they have to give a poisoned chalice.
Taylor, I
hate this. I was having so much anxiety here. Like, this was just the worst part of the episode. I was like, no, let Dan do it. Parvati, let Dan do it.
This whole chalice thing triggered me. Taylor would only understand why the chalice would trigger me, but it triggered me. So I don't like the chalice thing in the first place. But then when I saw what had to be done, I was like, oh.
So they have to, because they have to get this like chalice out of the library in a from inside a trick book, and then the chalice looks nasty, and they have to get someone to drink from it. Right. Which is so crazy, so suspicious. The only benefit is like it's unclear how long after someone drinks after it till they, drop dead. So like you've got a little, I don't know, there's like some wiggle room to get away from it, but it just feels so risky. I'm like,
and the idea that I'm pretty sure I heard it right? It's just the first person who drinks from it who does it. Mm-hmm. So I would like come up with some corny drink game and just be like, oh, let's do this and make sure I pass it to the person I want to kill first, and then have everybody do it so that it's just like everybody played it, but I recognize that that's still risky because then it's obvious that you were involved with the first person, and it'd be like, oh, they drank from this thing first, and but like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's better than like you obviously still being like the person who offered somebody this thing from this random cup.
Yeah,
for no
and like
reason.
the cup does not look like any of the other cups in the
Right.
room.
it's like, and apparently I haven't watched the most recent episode of Traitors UK, but they left off on the exact same twist, which I find very entertaining. Same cliffhanger, apparently, which I appreciate the three different ways of going about this. Parvati and Dan are like, okay, well, we need to strategize. We need to figure out who it is. We need to target a woman because all these men are going, blah, 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 blah. Phaedra's like, I'm just going to let them do it.
Mm-hmm.
Correct, Phaedra.
Until she recognizes when Parvati comes into the room trying to get Sheree out. And Phaedra's like, well, I'm not letting that happen on my watch. And I'm like, in what universe? Correct. But in what universe do you think Phaedra is going to let Sheree get murdered this way?
Phaedra needs Sheree. Sheree is a potential number for Phaedra. It doesn't make any sense for Phaedra to let her go. I also, this whole scene where they're trying to get Sheree, or Parvati is potentially going for Sheree, is wild to me because Sandra is like standing at the edge of the bar and like Parv is acting kind of sus. I mean, she's doing her best, but it's noticeable. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Sandra has already said that all she needs is like an excuse to go after Parv. Yep. And Parv is giving that to her right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sorry, Parv, you need to make sure Sandra drinks from that cup.
Absolutely.
Honestly, I would have if I was Parv, because the decision ultimately ends up kind of just coming down to Parvati, because Dan ends up just kind of eclipsing it and is like, well, Parvati, you obviously have to do it.
Yeah.
So the decision ends up coming down basically to Parvati. She realizes she's not going to be able to get Sheree. She goes into another room, and we're left on the cliffhanger of who her target is that she establishes. Now, I wrote down
MJ.
She tried to do MJ.
And MJ, she was like, oh, this ain't going to work.
MJ's not going to drink from this cup.
MJ has a cup.
She has a cup.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
So the people in that room.
I swear to, and if she kills Bergie, y'all think I will get?
I think she gets Bergie.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I think it's between Bergie and Peter.
I think it's Peter.
It's gonna be bad.
So the people in the room are MJ, Janelle, Peter, Trishelle, Ekin-Su, and Bergie, and Dan, but she can't kill Dan. So I think, honestly, I think it could be Janelle.
I think it's Trishelle. Because I don't think Janelle would drink from the chalice like that either. I think Trishelle would. I think she saw Trishelle and was like, oh, she'll drink from this crappy thing. She drinks from toilets. Here you go.
Look what she's wearing.
Yeah. Right. I totally think that because she had a light bulb moment of, I just got to get somebody who's going to drink out of this dirty mug. Oh, look, there's Trishelle.
I personally see, I was on that page, but mine was Peter. I was like, she would probably be like, I can get Peter to drink anything because this man will do anything I tell him if I bat my eyes at him and make him think he can get a chance with me. So if I just like, oh, Peter, here, take this cup, and she can let him and do what Parvati does and get him to drink this cup. I thought Peter. I didn't want it to be Bergie, but I'm like, between Peter and Bergie, I think it can happen between those two, but I think it's Peter.
I would be more than okay with Peter.
I'd be okay with Peter. I swear, if she does Bergie, I will go on such a rant on Twitter. You guys don't even know what is coming against this woman. That
especially after he had his moment. Especially after he had his moment this episode, I would feel so bad.
I will get canceled by everybody we love because I will go after Parvati so hard.
Okay, the opposite opinion. I would actually love it if Bergie could have like this glorious moment this episode and then goes out at the very end to Parv. Like, it's so fucking funny.
No.
It's a journey.
This is going to be the single list.
Going down, I'm going down, and I will go down by taking Parvati down with me.
Kisha's like, if Bergie's a million fans,
I can about Parvati, and I will blast it all.
I will say,
I can't wait. I hate that we have to wait so long for
Mhm.
for these episodes to drop. But I'm just like, I want it to be Peter. I would hate if it was Bergie, but I would understand why it was Bergie if she chose Bergie. But if it's Trishelle, baby,
Period.
Please,
Oh.
I would love that.
Trishelle hater.
If she gives it to Trishelle, even though I drafted Trishelle, I would give Poverty my stand card. Like,
Trash
you got it, girl. If she gives it to
Poverty
Trishelle,
gets bonus points for me if she does Trishelle.
if she does Trishelle, she gets bonus points for sure.
Lewis, you were going to say, darling?
Because this is like the last bit of the episode, so we don't get to see much. So, do we think we got shown too much in the preview of
who was there?
The next
Did
set
we
of episodes?
see anyone from that room in the preview?
I'm
So
not
we
sure.
We see all three of the traitors, I believe, in the turret again, which at least lets us know that they survived the next banishment.
Good. Good for them.
Which I'm shocked by.
Same. I mean,
Yeah.
Dan seems like he's in big trouble right now, and like with the way Parv was running about with that chalice, I was like, shit, Parv, no, please.
Unless they're in the turret for another reason.
True.
Yeah.
True. And when Phaedra recruits Bergie and they win together, what about that?
Yes.
That would be
You know what?
best case scenario.
I think, but at this point now, I think Bergie can pull it off. Low-key.
Yeah.
Low-key.
I think he built a lot of social cred this episode.
Yeah.
And I think he's got trust in that house where if he was recruited, he'd be great. As long as he was recruited late and he didn't have to lie for too long.
I think he would pull a Mickey style complete combustion from Traitors Canada and just flop so hard if he got recruited. He'd be like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what to do.
I don't think he would do that. I think he would flop, but I think it would be at breakfast. He'd be like, "So there was a recruitment last night, huh?" And everybody'd be like, "There was," because it would be like a secret one, and he wouldn't know it's not. He would totally give him the ghost in some unnatural way where he'd just be like, "Oh my god, I was."
Like, can we go to the round table now? Like, I'm ready to vote. Where's my slate? Like,
everybody be like, "Oh, there was."
It'd be like Ben Delacreme, I'm going home.
I'm sending Cheryl home.
Or they'd be talking about how people get recruited, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't get a letter."
What was that letter that everyone got in the confessional?
Totally give him away to be like, "So it's a letter, huh?" Like, okay.
So, thankfully, also, we only have one episode next week.
One episode next week.
God.
We can talk about it easier.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll be back to talk about it. And it won't take us 3 hours to talk about it. No. We talk at 1 hour every episode. So
honestly, it tracks.
It tracks for us.
Yeah.
But do we have a draft update or no? Because we did do a draft for this.
We did.
So no. But I can look. It's okay. I can just tell you what happens because Logan doesn't want to do a draft update, and I wouldn't blame him because the way he drafted, it's not cute.
Oh no! Am I?
Not
oh no!
Logan
Wait.
I was about to say.
I don't remember who I.
I will tell you in just a second because we have this.
What did I do?
So the draft goes as follows, and
wait, hold on.
Who are in the draft is myself, Lewis, Brooke, Anissa, David, Logan, and Jack. And so, Logan, you have lost Bananas and Marcus, so you are down to MJ. That's it. And Jack has lost Peppermint. I have lost Max. So
I forgot I had Bananas.
Oh, my draft is solid. I think my draft is pretty solid.
Oh no!
Yeah, your draft is pretty solid, I think. But
no!
So right now I'm down. And I did draft Trishelle, but that was before the episode. So, But I have John, which I'm just very mad that they won't get off that man for breathing. But okay.
My draft isn't as solid as I thought. I thought
that Bergie, Ekinsu, and Larsa.
I thought what I predicted as the traitors was my draft.
Absolutely.
And I was like, oh yes, slay.
No, absolutely not. No.
Well,
So yeah, so Logan is. I'm sure you wouldn't talk about the draft if you being flop king, but we love that for you.
King of flopping.
We love that for you.
If it's not a drag draft, I just don't do well.
True.
That's just what happens.
Fact. But that's it, y'all. We've done it. We've got through it.
Thank God.
We talked about all 3 episodes. But you know, I'm not mad because I love this panel. We had a good time talking about it. So I'm not mad at talking.
Even if we're completely exhausted afterwards. I I love you all dearly.
But you know what I love the most? We don't all have the same opinion, and we all
no.
like different people,
Oh,
and
it's
we
so good.
are willing to fight for the people we like.
Me. I just know that next that me and Tay are gonna be like Team Ekinsu versus Team Janelle.
I like them both, so they will make up and be like ride or die.
I really hope that they combine and like become some sort of.
I think they'll combine forces. I think what Max did will make them combine forces.
I think they are more similar than they are dissimilar.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
I kind of agree with that.
You know what I love though? People that subscribe to the channel.
Me too. I do too.
I'm trying to say, y'all, we've been here for almost 3 hours. I love you all, but we've been here.
We love you all. That's all you have to say. I love you all. No buts. So, but we do love people who subscribe to this channel, because if you subscribe to the channel, that means you love us. And you stuck around for 3 hours. You should love us by now. I'm just saying.
If you watched all of this, thank you.
You love us.
If you skip to the end, fuck you.
But follow us on all of our socials as well at The Cup Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, because we have some funny moments, and I'm sure Logan pulled some funny moments from this episode alone. So yeah.
Oh, the Shell toilet water comment will be on social media at some point. I don't know when, but it will be.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And then you can follow all of us. You see the things ticking down there. You see all of our Twitters and things and handles and things. So follow us on all of our socials, you know, if you want to.
There's easy, cute hyperlinks now in the YouTube descriptions. It's just X and then our names. It's very cute.
Just click the name.
I'm mad at it.
And there's the thing. And then if you continue to scroll down in the descriptions, you can get the cup mug and all of our cup merch. I left it in the other room because I switched places. So yes, Taylor.
Representing.
Look at Taylor representing, and he's been here least amount of time than you, Lewis. Lewis.
This is the second time I've told Lewis today about a cup mug.
I literally did you expect me to salute within the last 2 hours that I've not been on the podcast?
That's fine. Well, I'm just gonna say well, this is my first time saying it, so it won't be.
I will buy my cup mug when you least expect.
Great.
Never. Okay.
Next year, got it.
But yes, get your cup mug and all the cup merch and all of the things. And yeah, that's it. We're out. We're done. Cheers, y'all. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Remember, there's no BFFs in this game unless BFF stands for
betrayal, fraud,
and
fakery.
Fakery. Bye.